Phoenix Suns are up 2-0 against the Milwaukee Bucks in the NBA Finals in the year 2021, and they are 2 wins away from the Phoenix Suns' first ever NBA championship as they defeat the Milwaukee Bucks 118-108. I am just so excited right now, you guys. I can finally exhale, and I am joined by 2 special guests to help me break this game down because, you know, unlike game 1, there's a lot to break down here, in my opinion. We might differ from that. So let me start off with Mr. 10,000 subscribers, one of Ben Simmons' biggest critics and haters, as you can see by his profile picture. I'm here with Romp 2.0. Romp, how you doing, man?
What's up, man? Congratulations. I'm glad your team has shot makers. It must feel good. Sixers legend Mikhail Bridges put on a master class tonight, 27 points. So that really felt good. But all I got to say, it's very simple. The Suns are the better team. I mean, every time the Bucks made a run, I was like, oh, the Suns are just going to respond because they've been responding all playoffs. So that's all I have to say right now.
And I am also joined by another special guest, Super Mario Hoops, who recently just put out a new episode of his Baloney Basketball, if I got that correct, which I am on. Go check it out. The links should be down below in the description. And Super Mario Hoops, man, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Obviously just came back watching the game. And like Suns Geek said, my recent video features him. You should go check it out. I'm sure you non-Suns fans are tired of hearing this guy talk about the Suns all the time. So there's some other questions in there. But yeah, I mean, like Romp said, it must feel good to have some shot creators. So to Romp, it must feel good to be in the playoffs. I can't relate.
That's true.
Being a Bulls fan and all.
Yeah, it's a tough life out here.
That's right. I'm joined by the Bulls' biggest fan and Derrick Rose's biggest fan, and then, Ben Simmons' biggest critic and the biggest Sixers fan I've ever met. But yeah, you guys, we're going to be diving into game 2, talking everything Suns and Bucks. Before we get started, though, you guys, make sure to Hulk smash that like button. Just pick up your mouse, or if you're on your phone, just Hulk smash the like button. It would really help me out. And share this stream on social media. And at the end of the stream, if I didn't already, I'll make sure to leave the links down below in the description for Romp 2.0's channel and for Super Mario Hoops. And you guys, we obviously got a lot to unpack here. Even though the Suns did win, and I know, Romp, we kind of were talking earlier about how you weren't really too concerned with this game. I was just trying to exhale. Clearly, it wasn't over. This was a game full of runs. Let's be real. But I want to start off with this. The Bucks started off this game really well. I think both of you have to agree with that. I mean, it was just a great effort on Chris Paul and Devin Booker. However, because the Suns are just so talented and they have many different offensive weapons, that allowed players like Mikael Bridges and Jay Crowder to get it going. It was 14-9 early on. The Bucks were just dominating in the paint early on. And again, the Bucks defense and effort was much better in the first half. Romp, I'll start with you. In terms of just the first half, what did you take away from that first half?
The Bucks started off really strong, aggressive. Drew Holiday was really aggressive. Giannis was. I think they had like 20 points in the paint in the first quarter, if I'm not wrong.
They killed us, man. They killed
us.
They
outscored them 20-0.
Yeah, but like the Suns are, they respond. The beauty of the Suns, man, is they don't make their star players do too much. Like Devin Booker, all he really has to do is score the basketball. That's really his job. Well, if you look at Giannis, he has to play make, he has to get rebounds, he has to do everything basically, and that's tough on one player. So that's the beauty of the Suns. Like Mikhail Bridges, kept them in the game initially, and then Payne came off the bench, sparked them. So the role players really kept them in the beginning. Exactly. Then Devin Booker got going.
Yep.
Then CP3 did his thing. So the Suns are just a well-balanced team, while the Bucks, when Chris Middleton's not going, it's really only Giannis. So that's a difference.
Super Mario Hoops, what did you take away from the first half? And really, I guess just your takeaways overall. Actually, before you answer that, big shout out to Sawbucks23 with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Sawbucks. You did not have to do that, but I truly appreciate you, man. Long-time Suns fan, been watching me for as long as I can remember. And he said, remember when people clowned on me for saying the Suns will win it all this year. Shout out to Sawbucks, man. But Super Mario Hoops, just your thoughts, man. I mean, again, the first half takeaways are really just your takeaways overall.
Yeah, I think from the Suns standpoint, obviously the guys, like we talked on Tuesday, the guys that were struggling in the starting lineup, Jay Crowder didn't hit like a single shot. He hit, I believe, like 3 3-pointers in the first half.
Exactly, because him and Bridges got going.
Same thing with Bridges. Like he was good at the end of game 1, but he started off well in game 2, and he was kind of good throughout. Cam Johnson, I mean, he's like a god off the bench. Like he just doesn't miss.
He does.
And it was crazy because this was probably Aiden's worst game in the playoffs that we've seen. Devin Booker started off slow. Chris Paul, yeah, he wasn't bad, but I don't think he was like overly aggressive to start the game.
We're gonna talk about Chris Paul later.
And but they still, they were up 8. The Bucks, outscoring them 20-0 in the paint in the first quarter. And I made a tweet around that time. I said, like, threes are greater than twos, but it's not that simple because if you're not making your threes, then what's the point? And I said, like, the Suns need to get more inside. They need to force the Bucks more outside a little bit more. And then they started doing that, and then eventually, like, their whole game started flowing a little bit better. And I think that's kind of like where the game took off. I thought by halftime the Suns had control.
That's fair. And I'm kind of glad you brought up the whole like 3-point conversation, especially in the first half, because at one point in the first half, the Bucks had 16 of their 21 points in the paint, and the Suns had 15 points, all from 3. And we talked about this before we started the live stream. This game was full of runs. There was a lot of 8-0 runs or 7-0 runs, whether it was from the Bucks or the Suns. One run in particular where the Suns' energy, I think it was like the last 5 minutes of the second quarter, the Suns' energy just picked up. There were a few sloppy moments here in the second quarter. DeAndre Ayton had this beautiful pass to Jay Crowder. It's either Crowder or Bridges in the corner 3, and then Chris Paul hit a mid-range. At halftime, it was 56-45. And you guys are saying that the Suns kind of had it in control after halftime, which, yes, they were right, but what I saw was just a lot of the Bucks coming back. I mean, I think at one point it was like an 8-point game. Ron, but do you have any thoughts on just why you think the Suns were in control after halftime?
It's just because the Bucks offense isn't reliable enough compared to the Suns offense. Like, even though they were going on the run, it was like just one-on-one with Giannis. No one else was really.
I agree with that, actually.
Going.
Yeah, it was like Giannis this whole game.
And then it was like, the Suns were like, let me just play in the paint and let him dribble for 20 seconds. And then he takes it. And then they're just like, we'll foul him because he'll only make one free throw. So it's like, yeah, they were getting it going in the second half. Giannis was doing his thing, but it really wasn't sustainable compared to the Suns offense where everyone's getting involved. There's movement. The defense is just getting outworked because the Suns ball movement is incredible. While the Bucks, it's just like there's no movement. I don't get the Bucks offense really. And when Chris Middleton's not doing anything, I just knew the Suns were going to pull this one out.
I guess I was just like hyper focused and just trying to focus on all different elements of the game that I guess I didn't like realize we were like in control. Super Mario, I mean, would you say you agree with Romp, like in terms of just the Suns kind of having control despite the runs that happened from the Bucks?
I mean, yeah, I think as soon as that 8-0 run that started at the end of the second quarter, I think that's kind of like when they had control. And I'm like, the Bucks are not going to come back in the game because Chris Middleton, he's too up and down. Drew Holiday is too up and down.
Especially in the finals.
It was almost to a point today where I was going to say maybe put in Jeff Teague, but no, I didn't go that far.
Devin Booker had that one like little crossover push off on him and drained the 3, and that was probably the end of Jeff Teague right there.
I can't let up my pride on that one. But yeah, I don't know. It's just the Bucks. I mean, Brook Lopez didn't play that well either. And he's got to be more aggressive, I think, too. But not only do I think the Suns have control over, like, not only do I think it was this game, but I don't know. I don't want to get all Paul Pierce-like, but I think it might be over. I think this is going to be a sweep because I'm seeing a lot of similarities that I saw from the Denver series, and you saw like Jokic, he did everything he could,
and it didn't matter. Mm-hmm.
Everyone else, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, those guys were not good that whole series. Monte Morris wasn't bad. That's kind of like what you saw from Pat Connaughton today, being that like one role player to support him. But then the difference I think between the two is that the Nuggets have those players like Michael Porter Jr. You're rarely going to be able to stop him. He's going to be one of those guys that stops himself.
Right.
Whereas the Bucks,
which we saw in that Nuggets series.
Yeah. And the difference with the Bucks is that with Holiday forcing up bad shots, Chris Middleton forcing up bad shots, they don't really have that energy even defensively. Like I thought defensively, I'm like, this is bad because it's like a playoff game and they allowed like 90 points in 3 quarters. Or 88 technically, but it still wasn't that good. So I could very well see this ending on Wednesday, but I don't know. That's just what I'm seeing right now from this.
Get out the brooms.
We might have to. I don't know. This is what it's looking like.
Maybe I'm on cloud 9 right now, and I'm just recency bias with being up 2-0 and everything, and my team being in the finals for the first time in 28 years. But if this was the best Bucks effort and we still won, then yeah, this is going to be a sweep, or worst case scenario, maybe 5 games. And I'm kind of glad that you brought that up. I mean, maybe I'm talking crazy. Maybe I'm getting a little too confident, but Sawbucks is with us. He agrees with us.
And I will say,
this year. Go ahead.
Just to add, also, I trust, with the Nuggets, obviously Jamal Murray's injury hurt a lot. They didn't have Will Barton until the later games. They didn't have PJ Dozier. But I would trust Mike Malone a lot more than I would trust Mike Budenholzer.
That's your boy, Romp.
Yeah.
Who?
Mike Budenholzer.
Oh, Mike. Dude, can I just say something?
Go ahead.
So Brook Lopez has 19 points, game 7 against the Nets. He plays well against the Hawks, 33 points one of the games.
Yep.
And they just completely forget about him.
Like they did tonight?
I just don't understand what – okay, there's something happening with the Bucks. The way they play is not going to get them a championship. They've had a lot of luck this year. That's how they got to this point. Let's be real. The Nets getting injured – and the Sixers being stupid, and the Hawks Trae Young got hurt too. So Eric Bledsoe.
You're a Sixers fan, Rob?
Okay.
I mean, to be fair, the Giannis was hurt as well. But go ahead.
So one of the biggest things for the Bucks that happens every playoffs is Chris Middleton either shows up or he doesn't. Same thing with Eric Bledsoe, and now it's the same thing with Drew Holiday. There's a trend happening here. So obviously, the way their offense is run, it's not allowing players besides Giannis to get in a rhythm. The Suns offense, you look at it, it allows everyone to get in a rhythm.
Facts.
That's the reason why you're seeing Drew Holiday miss a ton of shots and Chris Middleton not be there every night, because it's just like Giannis playing 1-on-5. There's no offense, and that can't win in the NBA.
Well, I was just going to say, where the Bucks messed up, in my opinion? I think it's when they paid Bledsoe and then they decided to let Brogdon walk.
Yep.
Because
we talked about that, Super Mario. Can you
imagine if they had Brogdon out there? I mean, he shot 50, 40, 90 his last year there. Mm-hmm. If he was there to space the floor, which he would, a lot better than Drew Holiday would. Yep. That's not a knock on him either, but it's just facts. Driving to the basket. I think Brogdon's a better pure point guard, and he slows down the game a little bit more too than Drew Holiday. I feel like sometimes he gets a little bit more in a rush, like saw Eric Bledsoe do. I don't know how many times I saw him in the last 3-4 years when they had Bledsoe, and he would just force the ball up on 3 or 4 guys in transition. That's just not going to help you out, especially at this time in the playoffs. So that's, I think, where they kind of messed up. If they had him right now, this could be a little bit of a different series, or at least it'd be a lot closer.
Him and Drew Holiday would be a nice little duo too.
Well, and they might have even been able to get both those if they didn't pay Bledsoe. So that's, I think, where they messed up. They shouldn't have picked Bledsoe over Brogdon.
Big shout out to my good friend Cody, who says much love to you, Brandon. Rally the Valley, and big shout out to Alan Bruce. I always say this every time he comments or leaves a super chat that I owe you a beer, Alan. $5 super chat from Alan Bruce. Thank you so much, man. He says Suns champs because their role players are 3 tool players. And that actually kind of I want to go on here talking about just some of the role players in tonight's game. And I want to talk about Mikhail Bridges in particular. But before we do that, guys, once again, I am live with Romp 2.0 and Super Mario Hoops 24. Go check them out on YouTube and make sure to Hulk smash that like button. Let's talk about Mikhail Bridges for a minute, you guys. 38 minutes tonight, 8 for 15 from the field. He had 3 threes, which, if I'm correct, probably came at maybe the first half. He was 8 for 8 from the free throw line. I do want to talk about the free throws later on, but he had 27 points, 7 rebounds. Super Mario Hoops, I'll start with you right here. What did you see from Mikhail Bridges tonight? Because, in my opinion, welcome to the NBA Finals, Mikhail Bridges. We needed you tonight, and I referenced this early on. I said that, you know, the Bucks were dominating in the paint early on, but it opened up for Mikhail Bridges. He had this one dunk, I think maybe in the second half, and that was when I started feeling like relaxed. I was like, okay, like that was a statement dunk. And just again, what did you see from Mikhail Bridges tonight?
I mean, a little bit of everything. Like I've said to you a few times earlier, I thought throughout the season it was pretty much one of those guys. You'd watch him; it seemed like he was, you know, unstoppable. He just couldn't miss shots from the corner. And then in the playoffs,
corner 3-point shooter, he really is.
Yeah, both him and Cam Johnson. And then what you've seen in the playoffs, while he's been a little up and down, you know, this is arguably his best game that he's had in the whole playoffs. And it's like not only was he, you know, he dropped 27 points, shot well from the field, didn't shoot great from 3, but he, you know, got to the free throw line.
3 threes, man, is huge, you know. But yeah, you're right. It wasn't great.
8 free throws.
Yep.
But I would say also defensively, you know, Chris Middleton, you know, everyone was saying, and I even wasn't too fond of believing it, but of course, Chris Middleton, often one of those guys that can stop himself. But I don't know, Mikal Bridges did a solid job on him, did a solid job on Holiday, and a lot of the perimeter players for the Bucks. So, and I think you even mentioned it, like how he's going to be one of their key players in this series. So, yeah, I mean, this game by him today, maybe if he struggles, maybe they don't win. So they kind of needed it.
Yeah, I mean, when I was on your show, and I think you asked me, like, who's going to be the X factor of the series, and I told you, and Romp, you know this, like, when Mikal Bridges gets it going, the Suns win a lot of games, and that stands out. So, Romp, what did you see from Mikal Bridges tonight? You know, is he the X factor of the series? Well, what do you think, man?
He just played Mikal Bridges basketball, man. Yep. He's just so good. He's always cutting. He can take it off the dribble. He's just a good player.
Got to the free throw line, man. I didn't even know he had 8 3-point or free throws until I read that.
It's very valuable for a role player that you could just stick him on one of the best players every night.
Facts.
And also he can contribute offensively. It may not be the most consistent every night, but he's just really good. And I think he brings a dynamic that other forwards on the team can't. Like Cam Johnson, he can take it off the dribble, but it's not as reliable as Mikal Bridges. Same with Craig, can't really take it off the dribble.
We're going to talk about Torrey Craig.
Same with Jay Crowder. But Mikal has that ability to take it off the dribble. And that's why I think last series, even though Mikal was struggling, he was still necessary to have on the floor because when he gets the ball out top and the Clippers close out, he's a threat to take it off the dribble, and not every forward on the Suns is. So he adds an element, and it really helps the spacing out, in my opinion, for the Suns.
I'm sorry, but I was laughing at a comment from fellow YouTuber and fellow Sixers fan from the Daily Drip who said, the Suns are so fun to watch, and then he followed his comment up with saying, if only the Sixers had a chance at Bridges. I hate being a Sixers fan.
Don't be a Sixers fan, man.
I just have to laugh at that, man.
Oh, so, but we're too hard on the players. Danny Green. I just say fluff Danny Green. Sorry.
Oh, man. Bob says Suns are going to sweep. LA Clippers were way tougher. Prepared us for this. Lakers were way tougher, too. You know, I've mentioned it lots of times that I think that, you know, being matched up with the Lakers in the first round was extremely unfortunate. I felt like it was sort of a weird punishment from the NBA gods, but I feel like that was like the test, and then just everything else was a toss-up, and it was a great test for the Suns beating the Lakers. And I agree, you know, the Clippers were a lot tougher. And they didn't even have Kawhi Leonard, which, you know, that's a different conversation for another day. But I mean, you know, the Suns are in the finals. They're up 2-0. And I just can't believe I just said that. Like, not only are we in the finals, but we are 2 games up. And again, if this was the best effort, someone brought this up about Giannis. Like, if this was the best Bucks effort, then this will be a sweep. He said, can you talk about Giannis has been absolutely wasted this series? Like, he can't get any help for real. I feel like that's what our first 20-minute conversation has basically been about. And let's look at Giannis's numbers real quick. 40 minutes tonight, 15 for 22 from the field. I bet you a lot of those were in the paint. 11 free throws made out of 18 attempted, 42 points and 12 rebounds, 3 blocks, et cetera, et cetera. You know, let's start with you, Romp. What did you see from Giannis tonight? And, you know, are the fans right? Like, is it just Giannis out there?
I mean, like I said, I'm gonna sound like an idiot right now, but I think the way Giannis played tonight, like, it's all good and dandy, but it's not elevating anyone else. Like, he was just going one-on-one. So, like, yeah, he was scoring, but I'll say it again, like, it gets teammates out of a rhythm because they're just standing and watching. So, like, yeah, he was great one-on-one, but at the end of the day, Suns can just pack the paint because he can't shoot a jumper, and they'll just foul him when he gets there, and he'll probably go 1 of 2. So, yeah, Giannis is great, but I just don't think I don't think he could be a number 1 scoring option on a championship team. I think he needs to be more of a 4 and 5 and just kind of run the pick and roll as a roll man. I think that's the best way for the Bucks to run their offense because it'll get others involved.
I will give him props too. I mean, obviously he's been, you know, he has that injury and all that. And we saw a couple times he was like grimacing and might've tweaked a couple things in his body here and there. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. And
Z-Tune said, nah, the Bucks rely on Giannis too much. That's what I'm kind of trying to say.
I mean, he is a 2-time MVP, and that's where I was kind of trying to give him credit and all that. But I mean, yeah,
but where has it gotten them besides this year? Where has it gotten them? Second round exits, conference finals exits. So it's obviously not the formula used to win a championship. That's what I'm trying to say.
And, you know, we've kind of been we've kind of been talking about this, like, you know, Drew Holiday's got to be better. And Chris Middleton, I don't really want to call him inconsistent because he was pretty big in the closeout series against the Hawks and all that. But I don't know what Chris Middleton did tonight. So Super Mario Hoops, I mean, just following up with this conversation, what did you see from Giannis, and what are your thoughts?
I just think it's going to look it just looks kind of bad now because Giannis obviously had that injury, and I think a lot of people thought when he came back in game 1 they were surprised. Like we even talked about that, and maybe who knows what could hold the rest of the series. Maybe he has to play limited minutes, you know, coming further down the line. Or maybe, you know, something happens because he came back too early. They could have just gave him pretty much these first 2 games off now in hindsight and, you know, seen what they could have done without him. You know, obviously they played well against the Hawks when he wasn't playing. And I'm not trying to say, like, the Bucks are better without Giannis because they aren't.
Yeah, they're not.
I just think that, like Romp said, and like who was it in Z-Tune in the chat?
Yeah, Z-Tune.
How they rely too much on him. And then I feel like sometimes they get a little shook. I just don't like how they sometimes want Giannis to isolate at the top of the key. It never really results in a great outcome because most times they'll foul him. We know how he is at the free throw line. I feel like he should play more like, I don't know, like short corner type of style. And then maybe he can catch, you know, the lob, dunk it down. You see that kind of with AD a little bit with the Lakers. And then obviously LeBron's the one going downhill, or Schroeder it was this year or something like that. The only thing is who's going to be the guy doing that, because I've seen some of the passes this season that Drew Holiday's thrown, that Chris Middleton's thrown, Bryn Forbes, I doubt it, Jeff Teague. So, like, who's it going to be? And I don't know if they have an answer to that.
I think the Bucks tricked themselves into See, the mistake they made was making Giannis this point forward, point center, generational player. That's not who he should be. He should just be a power forward and sometimes, run the point guard. But now it's like there's nothing around him because they built this whole team just Giannis running ISO. And that works in the regular season. But when you can't hit a perimeter jumper consistently as a number one option, you're not going to go anywhere. It's just that simple.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I think it was, 2015, 2016, when they said at the start of the year, they're like, we're going to start running Giannis at point guard. And that was when they had Michael
That was
Carter
a long
Williams.
time ago.
they had Carter Williams on the team. But the year before that, they had made the playoffs. They surprised a lot. And I remember that because they took my Bulls to 6. But a lot of people thought they were like the next up-and-coming team. Then they missed the playoffs in 2016. And everyone was like, what a disappointment. So I don't know. Like you said, I don't know if that's really the answer for them. And they got to find out like who can be that guy. Like I said, they can get downhill.
Especially on nights when, Chris Middleton only 11 points on 5 for 16 shooting, Drew Holiday, 17 points. He did have 7 assists, but he was 7 for 21 from the field and nearly 40 minutes. I mean, Pat Connaughton was huge, 34 minutes, 14 points. Without Pat Connaughton, I think this game would have been a blowout.
I think the Suns were letting him shoot, low-key. I think they were just like
it was like Brook Lopez in game
one.
They were just letting Brook Lopez shoot. They didn't care.
Well, I feel like Pat is at least usually a little bit reliable. I know he got a lot of slack from game 1 against the Hawks because of that shot, but he hasn't been too bad for most of the playoffs.
I like Pat Connaughton.
And I don't think he's that bad.
No, I mean, he's a good player. I like his story.
Question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I don't know about you, but the Bucks they don't feel like a team. Like, I sound like the biggest Bucks hater. They just don't feel like a team. Like, as I'm watching them, like, the Suns are so obviously better. Like, do you get that feeling? Same with you, Super Mario.
I mean, I would agree with you. I just think that the Suns play more together, and that's why I think the Clippers.
Thank you, Super Mario.
A little bit better because you saw the Clippers. All those guys, whether it was Paul George or Jackson or Morris or Batum, like they were making game-winning plays. They were always, high focus, high energy. You look at the Bucks, like sometimes, like there was a play where Booker shot a fadeaway over Middleton and he missed, and then the ball went back to him. I don't know if you remember that. And then he caught the rebound and he put it back up and made it. And then Middleton's looking around like trying to blame someone, and then he just puts his head down. Like there's too many of those plays. Same thing like when Holiday picks up some bad fouls.
Turnovers when they're going on a run, like Pat Connaughton threw it right to DeAndre Ayton. And another thing, freaking closing out on Jay Crowder, like he can take it off the dribble. That just shows me you're not locked in enough. And
Cam Johnson tried that once too. He closed out and just went up for a dunk attempt and went to the free throw line. Another thing too, you guys remember that one play when like the Bucks defense was just swarming us, but the Suns ball movement was better, and then I think somebody threw it up and Ayton eventually caught it and just slammed it down. That was another moment when I kind of exhaled and was like, okay, like that was like one of the wildest sequences I've ever seen, and it ended up in the Suns' favor.
My most recent tweet, I said, yep, the Suns are winning it all after that last possession of over 11 passes. This thing's a wrap. Because like the Bucks,
let's go. I need to retweet
that was the Bucks like best defensive possession probably all game. And I'm like, it just ended with Ayton getting an and one. And I'm like, dude, it's over.
Yeah.
Rob V put it perfectly. Bucks might have the best player, but the Suns have the best team.
Amen.
Ooh, that is
Amen.
perfect.
It reminds me a little bit like
gives me chills.
You know how like in 2007 finals, like when it was LeBron and the Cavs against the Spurs, and what they'd do is he didn't shoot great from the field, but what they were doing is they were daring him a lot to shoot from 3 and letting him get to the free throw line because that wasn't something that was a strong suit in his game at that point. It seems like they're doing that a lot with Giannis right now. He's getting his.
Oh, yeah, they're leaving him wide open. They don't care.
Yeah, but it just isn't translating because you look at guys like Middleton and Holiday, they're looking like how, some of those Cavs looked back then.
I think the Suns are focusing more on stopping Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton. Like, I feel like if you sat Chris Paul in a dark room and you like asked him, tell the truth, who are you more scared about going off? He'd probably answer Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday. Like, I feel like they're just like, yeah, we'll let Giannis cook because he doesn't get other players involved.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you guys. Speaking of Chris Paul, I do want to kind of transition into that because I do want to talk about Chris Paul here. Tonight, 41 minutes, 10 for 20 from the field, hit 3 threes. One in particular I remember was from the corner, and that kind of, again, it was one of those moments where every time the Bucks went on a run, the Suns would just answer with a 3, and he had 1 3 in particular that was from that corner, and I felt really good. 23 points, 8 assists, 6 turnovers. There was a small stretch near the fourth quarter where I felt like he was kind of, I don't want to use the words hero ball, but he made like some questionable decisions. Do you guys think that's a big deal? Am I overreacting here? Super Mario, I'll start with you. Like, what really in particular, what did you see at the end from Chris Paul? And I guess really all game.
I think you're overreacting. I mean, first of all, like,
hey, I'm drinking water.
It's Chris Paul. I mean, this guy has the highest IQ of everyone in this series. Yeah, 6 turnovers. He was making some questionable plays down the stretch, but it's not like the Bucks were even going to get back in it. Let's be real.
Hey, they cut it down to 8. I gotta give him props.
Yeah, but when Middleton's taking
like 20
those kind of threes at the end, it's like it's over. Just handing the Suns the win,
dude.
But I don't know. Like, no, you're good. I was just thinking, like, I'm looking at the game, like the stats. Devin Booker drops 31. Chris Paul 23 and 8. Like, Ayton didn't play great, but defensively he was still huge. And actually, I think the best stat for him was the rebounds. Yeah, it was the most he had, but I think he got half of them like in the last 3 or 4 minutes of the game.
That's fair.
A lot of those like kind of sealed it for him. So I don't know like who would even be Finals MVP at this point. I don't know. Like, I guess the people in the chat could like tell us who they have.
Yeah, go ahead and leave your Finals MVP predictions here. So I'm the host here, guys. This is my channel. I got to make things over dramatic sometimes. So Ron, agree with me here. Was Chris Paul terrible at the end there? No, I'm just kidding. What did you think of Chris Paul, Ron?
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even watch the last 3 minutes because I knew.
You're like, oh, I'm done. I'm just gonna go.
I had to go to the bathroom, and I was I turned it on my phone, but then I was like, why am I even watching this, man? Game's over. But Chris, you're drunk, man. Even if Chris Paul's making those turnovers, you want him to make those because most likely he's not going to make those turnovers.
Right.
So he'll be good.
I can't be a hypocrite either because I was like in a little group chat with some friends and they were like kind of clowning on Chris Paul. And I'm like, are we really questioning Chris Paul? I'm like, he's the best leader in the NBA. I'm like, he knows what he's doing out there, even if he does make some questionable decisions or maybe has a turnover here and all that. And, I like to say this, and I say this a lot. I get repetitive here when I'm saying this. It's like sometimes, like, let's say Chris Paul struggled tonight, which, he didn't. Let's say Devin Booker maybe he only had like 20 points or something like that, which he didn't. The Suns are just so good that they have other people step up. Yeah. Like in this case, it was DeAndre Ayton who kind of struggled tonight, and Mikael Bridges stepped up, and just the Suns are just so loaded, so many weapons. And we haven't even talked about Devin Booker, who had 31 points tonight, 12 for 25 from the field, 7 3-pointers, which, by the way, he was like stuck on 6 3-pointers, like 6 3-pointers or something was like his career high for like ever. And then all of a sudden, 7 3-pointers earlier this season, 7 3-pointers in the NBA Finals when it matters most. Every time the Bucks went on those runs that I keep talking about, it was Devin Booker. In particular, he just was fantastic. And one thing I liked that the Suns did, and this is kind of like cliche in the NBA, was I call them safety timeouts. The Suns did a lot of safety timeouts throughout this game, kind of rallied the guys. There was one clip in particular where Monty Williams was talking to DeAndre Ayton, and it was just perfect. Like, Monty Williams, obviously a fantastic coach. By the way, you guys, if you are just joining us, because we just got a whole bunch of people that just joined, I am live with 2 special guests, Romp 2.0 and Super Mario Hoops 24. They are helping me break down this game, and they are helping me try not to be too over dramatic. and the Suns are up 2-0 in the NBA Finals. I want to read you guys some numbers here, and I also say this a lot too. When the Suns shoot 40% or better, they win a lot of games. Well, guess what? Tonight, they basically shot 49% from the field and 50% from three. That is absolutely bonkers. 85% from the free throw line tonight. In game one, they had like 20-something free throws. I do want to ask you guys about the officiating and all the free throw attempts and all that later on. But, in all fairness, the Bucks killed us in the paint 54-28. So really, I guess I just want to get your guys' thoughts on the Giannis free throw attempts and him getting to the line every 5 minutes. And what did you guys think of the officiating? Let's start with Super Mario. What did you think of the officiating tonight?
I mean, I think I mentioned this last live stream. I just feel like it's not consistent. There's like spurts where it'll favor one team and then spurts where it'll favor the other. And I feel like a lot of it is just like trying to make up calls because something they mess up. Seemed like in the first half, you saw a lot of it in favor of Phoenix, and then second half, you saw a lot of it in favor of Milwaukee, especially the third quarter. I'm not trying to take away because Giannis, the 20-point quarter was insane. I believe it was the most since MJ in 93 against the Suns as well. But no, I just think that, it's just not consistent. I was going to ask a question, though, about what you guys think about – so the Bucks, they didn't have a foul until I think like the 9-minute mark in the second quarter or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's either that the Bucks like just defensive lapses, not being as aggressive, or do you think that should be more of a point of emphasis like for the Suns next game to try and attack them because they really didn't get to the free throw line until I think later in the second quarter?
I think I might agree with you, and I always kind of want to reference game one because, again, game one, we got like 20-something free throws, so I think you might be right on that. Romp, you got any thoughts on that?
I think it's a little bit of both, I think you could say. I thought the refs have been pretty fair, but honestly, like, you guys want Giannis at the free throw line if I'm being real. Because, like, him going 1 of 2, like, it just takes momentum from the Bucks. Every time it's like,
they call it
free
throw. It's
I
literally
mean, Romp would know what that feels like.
I would know. Like, and then it, like, for instance, Joel Embiid started like going for foul shot rebounds. Like, when do you ever see that? And the same thing happened tonight with PJ Tucker. Like, he went hard for an offensive rebound. So obviously that's affecting the team, and it's not gonna. Giannis at the free throw line is a win for the Suns every time, rather than a layup. So that's why they've been fouling him so much.
Well, and the other thing, when you mentioned how the Bucks don't play as a team, I feel like a lot of like from the middle of the third quarter until pretty much the end of the game, it seemed like Giannis was like Giannis and Pat Connaughton were pretty much the only ones crashing the glass on the offensive end. And I think a lot of people would say that they were probably the 2 best players in the game today for the Bucks.
Suns had 18 offensive rebounds. The Bucks only had 11.
Yeah, and a lot of I think Ayton had 2 or 3 big ones near the end. That's just bad as a team. Like, you can't win a basketball game 2v5. You could hear all these people saying, people lost like if they want to mock whether it was like LeBron in 2018 or Jimmy Butler last year in the finals, but you can't win by yourself. Like, it takes a team.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Torrey Craig. This is now unfortunately the second game where we've had another injury. First was Dario, and he's unfortunately out for the season with a torn ACL. And I didn't really know the locker room impact that Dario had until I think Devin Booker and Cam Johnson talked about it. They said that he's like the energy in the locker room that we don't see. And I've always been a big fan of Dario. And now tonight, Torrey Craig just took a spill. Hopefully he's okay. All I saw was that he couldn't get up by himself. Torrey Craig has been huge, and you guys both know that. We stole him from the Bucks, cash considerations and all that, and he fit into this team so perfectly. Plays great defense, loves hitting the three, and he's a tough. Monty Williams called him a tough guy because they asked him like, "What do you know about Torrey Craig's injury and all that?" He's like, "He's a tough guy," but he said it perfectly. He's like, if he can't get up, then clearly he's hurt. So hopefully he's not done for the finals. And just big shout out to Torrey Craig, and big shout out to the Suns fans in the arena. They were literally chanting at one point, Torrey. So it was like that. That made me proud to be a Suns fan tonight. So big shout out to them. I also want to talk about Cameron Johnson and Cameron Payne. They played 28 minutes combined, only had 10 points, but that's okay because, again, this is one of those things where when players struggle, other players step up, and we clearly saw that tonight from the Suns. And just what a fantastic win. Cannot believe that they are 2 wins away from their first NBA title. I have no clue who would win Finals MVP at this point because that's what we were asking the fans. Go ahead and once again, fans, leave who you think would win Finals MVP. Yeah.
I read you 2 tweets I tweeted last game.
Oh, absolutely not.
So I tweeted, Suns are the definition of team basketball. That was the first one.
Yep.
Which is the truth. And then the next one was CP3 and D-Book are the mid-range version of Steph and Clay. I know, it's poetry.
The NBA should just hire you, Romp, and you should be their social media manager. David Ray says 60 out of our 118 points were threes. That's basically half of our points. And then somebody said like we had 23s tonight, and that's like I don't know if it was a franchise record or whatever the case may be, but I knew that. Yeah, it was David who said we had 23 pointers. That's a franchise record for the playoffs. I knew it too because we had what, like 7 or 8 in the. I think we might have 9 in the first quarter. I was like, they're gonna set some kind of a record, and they did. Just absolutely fantastic. Thank you to everybody who's watching us, by the way. We got a lot of people in here, and I really appreciate you guys. Once again, go ahead, Hulk smash the like button because it really does help me and the channel out. I don't know, guys. What else do you guys got? Is there anything else you guys want to talk about? I'm running out of topics here.
well, I just think on that point, you mentioned how like the Suns had about 7 or 8 threes in the first quarter. But if you think, like, for one, they were losing, and 2, that was pretty much all their points.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they got killed in the paint.
Yep.
I know a lot of people talk about the evolution of the game and how the game's different now, and it's more like floor spacing and all that. But I think that the Suns, I mean, who was the one who just said it? David Ray said 60 of the 118 points were threes. So that's about half their points, rather than in the first quarter, it was pretty much all of the points. So I think they kind of stepped a little bit away from that, which I think actually benefited them a lot too. It seemed like that they got a better flow all around in the offense and just kind of playing the perimeter.
I think the mid-range shot is the most important shot because first off, if you get a mid-range jumper, it means you're in the painted area. So you could either kick it out to a shooter if the defense collapses, or you could just hit the mid-range shot. And the Suns are just mid-range killers this year. I think it's showing that the mid-range shot's the most important shot in the game.
Well, and everybody,
amen, brother.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, like, everyone that plays big minutes pretty much on the Suns, except for probably Ayton, they're capable of standing on the perimeter, taking a few dribbles in, getting into that like 15-footed area, and then whether they could pull up for a shot or they kick to the corner and you find like Cam Johnson or top of the key and you find Booker or something like that.
Random question here. Excuse me. What did you guys see from DeAndre Ayton tonight? 42 minutes, 4 for 10 from the field, 10 and 11, which even during the regular season when he struggled, he still would end up with like a double-double or close to a double-double. Maybe it was just the points in the paint battle and just the aggressive defense. There were a lot of times where Ayton just seemed like he was struggling. But again, there was a short period, I think kind of near the end of the game, where it felt like Ayton woke up. Romp, I'll start with you on this one. What did you see from Ayton tonight? I mean, this was arguably one of his worst games, if not the worst game for him in the playoffs.
No, it was a good game.
But again, it wasn't a big deal because we won. What did you think?
He just played his role, man.
Mm-hmm.
He deserves a lot more credit for that because he just plays his role. And my biggest pet peeve is for the Suns fans now is like, I said this to you the other night. It's like, oh, just feed him the ball.
Yep.
But like in reality, that's not his game. Like he's not a go get you a bucket type center yet. He could turn into that, but he just plays his role as a role man. The way he gets his points is from others creating it for him rather than him creating it for himself.
Exactly.
So to expect him to get a bucket for you, and that's going to be your offense, it's probably not the best for the Suns right now. Aiden can improve into that, but I thought he played well. And defensively, I think you can make an argument. He's shown that he's the best rim protector in the league this postseason.
And he is really good on players like Giannis. And I love when, teams try to switch on him because they don't know that he's like an overlooked defender. And I have the numbers somewhere, but like really all playoffs long, especially in the finals, the Bucks are shooting like 38% when Ayton is the primary defender or something like that. And there were times on Giannis where, Giannis tried to switch on him and then he'd have to like pass out or he missed the shot or whatever the case may be. So Super Mario Hoops, Z-Tune has been one of the MVPs of the conversation. He said Ayton got locked down tonight, but still got a double-double. I mean, what did you see from Ayton tonight?
I think DeAndre Ayton today played about as close to I'm not trying to make this comparison because I feel like people might blow it out of proportion, but it was like a Tim Duncan-esque game where it's like, whoa, but no, I just feel like because he had 10 points and 11 rebounds, relatively quiet, took like the fourth most amount of shots on the team.
He didn't really wake up till the fourth either, fourth quarter.
Yeah, but it's like when you have guys like Booker and Chris Paul and Mikael Bridges that are feeling it, like when you had Tony Parker or Ginobili or Bruce Bowen feeling it, Tim Duncan didn't need to do that, and especially he made his mark down the end of the game. Obviously those clutch rebounds, making clutch defensive plays. I just think that he kind of stepped up when he needed to, and he didn't have to like assert himself in the game like that much, but I don't know. I saw a lot from that aspect of it, like Tim Duncan.
Suns Geek, you're just casually sitting here with 216 people. Like, what the? I didn't realize I just turned on the screen.
That's why I keep repeating. I'm like, first off, thank you to everybody who's watching us. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who watches
Smash the like button.
Thank you to everybody who watches these post game, afterwards, after we're done going live. But yeah, go ahead. Hulk smash the like button. It really does help us out. Once again, live with my guests, Romp 2.0 and Super Mario Hoops 24. And just what a night, you guys. I can't believe I'm not drinking or not more drunk than I already am, according to Romp, because I should be celebrating. And I'm really curious to see how Game 3 is, man, because if this is how Game 3 is going to be, maybe a few runs here and there from the Bucks and just dominance from Giannis, but the Suns still win, then the series will be a sweep. And I'm just super excited. And bonus, the Suns have 2 days off instead of every other day off. It's 2 days off, which is huge. Devin Booker said something that I liked. He was talking to Malika Andrews after the game, and he said, we treat every game like it's Game 7, and they can't get ahead of themselves and all that. And I like that mentality. It's good. And I don't know. I just thought I would mention that because it's true. I mean, I agree. I guess that's kind of why I'm like a little over dramatic in this live stream, because I'm like, I'm treating it too like every game's a Game 7 and anything could happen. There's a lot of I don't knows in the NBA Finals. Game 3 is going to be crazy. And I will say this too. This is cliche, but I really mean this. If the Suns would have lost this game, Game 3 would have been an absolute must win, because you don't want to lose games 2 and 3 and then go back to Milwaukee again, for Game 4. So I just thought I'd go on that little rant there.
Well, I just think prior to the series, I said this is going to come down to if the Bucks can get a game in Phoenix. And right now they haven't, obviously. But of course, it's hard to trust them knowing what some of these other players outside of Giannis. I know Giannis is going to do his thing, but some of these other players, the head coach, just the game plan, it's just hard to predict how they're going to be able to come over the top. And then now they're still going to have to get Game 5 or Game 7.
Yep.
I've said if it goes to Game 7, I don't give the Bucks the slimmest of chances to win that game. So they're probably going to have to win 4 straight, and I just don't see
very
that.
Unlikely.
Yeah, I mean they're not. It's not going to be like the Clippers against the Jazz or anything like that.
I think the Clippers were way better.
Well,
way
you just
better.
hate the Jazz.
Wait, what'd you say?
I said you just hate the Jazz.
No, I would take the Jazz over the Bucks. Honestly, I don't know. The Bucks are confusing because like one game they'll be really good and then the other they won't be. They're like so inconsistent. They're kind of like the Sixers, low key.
They are, yeah.
Because it's basically all Joel Embiid and the Bucks are all Giannis. Like, and that's the problem. You can't win with one person. And
Well, I think
Budenholzer doesn't help it out at all. But you can go.
Oh, I was just gonna say. I mean, I guess there's some good signs for the Bucks because I saw something today that there's been 4 teams in finals history that have come back from down 2-0, and I think I don't remember all of them because I just lost it or something like that. But the point is, it's happened 4 times in I think the last 35 years. So it's possible, but I wouldn't.
That's
bet
what
on
I
it.
was saying. I was like, there's a lot of I don't knows in the NBA finals and really in the NBA playoffs. But at the same time, it's like we're up 2-0. And if game 3 is anything close to this and the Suns win, then I'm super confident that we can just bring out the brooms, Suns in 4. And just, yeah, I mean, someone in the chat says D-Book reminds me so much of KJ, who I feel like is an overlooked Hall of Famer. He says he's so fast, so deadly. Booker's probably a better shooter than KJ, but KJ was fantastic. And you guys got any other thoughts on tonight's game or anything else you want to talk about? I mean, I'm looking at the numbers. I'm trying to come up with topics here, but this is a pretty close case. I mean, the Suns just absolutely dominated. And, I felt like it was really the start when they hit those 9 threes and then ended the game with 20. And even though they killed us in the paint tonight, clearly you can't win with just dominating the paint. Giannis, even though he's a 2-time MVP, clearly can't do it all. He needs more help. So anything else you guys want to talk about?
Let me just
on the spot.
Let me just roast the Bucks a little more.
Sure, you don't want to roast the Sixers, Rob?
I've done enough.
You've done all that.
You haven't talked about Doc enough today.
Fluff him. But can I ask you guys something? Does this make sense? I know we said that the Bucks are not better without Giannis, which is obvious, but they are better offensively without him. And I wholeheartedly think that's true. Do you guys agree?
I think the way that he's utilized, in a way, you can be correct. But like I said, they need to make – I'm tired of seeing him. And this isn't just all on Giannis. A lot of it's on, the guy drawing up the plays in the timeout. Crispy Flakes' brother over there.
Shout out to Crispy Flakes, man.
Shout out to Crispy Flakes.
I think a lot of it is on Giannis, though, too.
Well, yeah, he's the 2-time MVP, man. He's their best player. He
just needs to play more like how AD does for the Lakers. And I know AD is a more capable shooter, so he's able to play a little bit from 15 feet or so. He's better at spotting him from 3, but a lot of the times he's more in the short corner, and then he could either dive down, maybe hit the 10-footer. He was hitting them pretty decently today, if decently is even a word. I don't know. I think I just made that up. But yeah, I don't know. I think that they just kind of have to change the way that he plays. He can't be doing all this ISO ball.
That's where I would say, with all due respect to Drew Holiday and everything, what if the Sixers had a better point guard, or really just maybe a better playmaking point guard, or maybe just, with all due respect to Mike Budenholzer, maybe just a different offensive scheme and new coaching. I'm just saying, because sure, Giannis is great and all that, but he's not the quarterback, if you will. So that's
all I'm
that
gonna
answers your question, Rob.
All I'm gonna say is, if the Bucks had Derrick Rose right now, the series might be a little different.
Your boy Derrick Rose.
Well, I mean, we saw how he played.
Candidate Rose.
Okay, we don't gotta go there, but the way he played in the playoffs with the Knicks, I mean, come on. I think that he could help the Bucks a lot.
I think
from
Also, JV, do not do that, bro. You're just asking to ruin your mental health, man. Come on now. But I just think the Bucks are at their best when Chris Middleton is the best offensive player. And the way they played tonight, yeah, he was missing shots, but they didn't make it easy for him. They were just like, oh, go one-on-one and shoot contested threes. Like every once in a while,
they was good in game one.
Like every once in a while, they did like a pick and roll with Giannis, and it got him an easy mid-range shot. Like they got to do that more. Like I don't know. It's just the Bucks have conned themselves into thinking they think that Giannis is something that he is not. It's the same thing with Ben Simmons. We thought he was a point guard. He wasn't. The Bucks are doing the same thing. They think Giannis could be this generational one-on-one iso ball scorer. You know what I'm saying? But he's not that. And now they put the way they constructed the roster, they don't have enough money to go get certain guys who's going to complement Giannis. So they're in a bad situation. Like if they're going to win, this is the year. But now they're not going to win because the Suns are really good. So honestly, the Bucks are not going to make it back to the finals if they don't make serious change and if Giannis doesn't adjust this game. You heard it here first.
And I think my bad. I think I was talking to both of you guys about that. I'm like, even if like the Bucks won the finals, I'm like, I wonder what their future still looks like, because how much of a leash do you still give Mike Budenholzer? And I don't know their whole contract situation with Giannis and Drew and all them, but it's like, what do you do? So Super Mario, before I interrupted you, what do you think about that?
Well, I think we were talking about it the other day, and I said, I don't think you said that the Bucks would fire him, or maybe you said they would, but I know I said like the only way they'll probably fire Budenholzer is if they get swept.
Yeah,
it's possible. It still could happen. But I think
coaches always go first too, no matter what.
Yeah. What I was gonna say though is, doesn't it feel like there's a lot of teams in the league where it's like this could have been their year, and then they have so much money exerted on these players? Like you see with the Clippers, you see it with like Portland, Sixers.
Say it louder, Romp.
It just seems like there's a lot of teams like that. Miami, I think they're kind of getting there as well, and they're kind of an older-ish team. But
yes, Z-Tune. Oh my God, Z-Tune is on fire tonight.
Dude, Z-Tune, you're the MVP.
Go
of this
up
chat,
to
man.
Chuga, I think his name was Chuga. He had an awesome comment.
I was
the Giannis one.
Yeah, he just
Giannis is a great player. His teammates just stand and watch once he gets going.
That's my
Did you
point.
say that?
How is Drew Holiday going to get going if he's just watching, and then they're like, oh, give him the ball now? He isn't in a rhythm for 36 minutes. How is he supposed to get in a rhythm now? That's why the Bucks offense sucks, and that's why you see Eric Bledsoe last year freaking shooting 39%, and that's why you see Chris Middleton shooting 25%, because it's just Giannis dribbling and others standing. How are you going to get in a flow? Giannis has to change his game. It's that simple.
I was thinking when I was watching this game, like I was thinking more in my mind, because like I think it's consensus that Giannis is like a top 5 player in the league. And like Devin Booker, I don't know if people really have him in their top 10, but he's, definitely up there. But when I was looking more and more at the game, I was like, dude, Devin Booker is going to end up a better player all time than Giannis. I don't know what it is.
Yes, because he can be a second option. Giannis
Hot take alert.
Well, and the other thing is, like, you look at some of these players, like, some people will hold against Kobe, like, oh, like his first year he came off the bench, his second year as well, like he had to work his way into it. And like Booker did too, but by his second season, dropping 70 points, he was averaging like 20 points per game all that time. And he's still pretty young. And I just feel like, I don't know, man, like the way he's playing right now. And I feel like he even has like more years to come where he's going to play like this. Giannis, he's great. He still might end up with a championship when it's all said and done, but I don't know if I think he's going to have like that kind of dominance or that hierarchy as Booker when it's all said and done. I just think Booker's probably going to end up higher all time.
I love that. I might have to just clip that whole thing and upload it as a separate video on my channel. That's insane, man. I need to get like some special effects going with that hot take. Shout out to Philly Take with RB, who says, just tuned in. Suns in 4, hashtag Brett Brown traded Mikhail Bridges for Zaire Smith. Shout out to Philly Take with RB. He does great work. everything Sixers and Eagles and all them. Check out his channel, guys. He's a cool dude. I've talked to him. Romp, you know, he's a great dude, man.
He's a Sixers fan, man. Pray for him.
Yeah, and, you know, let's keep Romp in your prayers. Let's keep Philly Take and the Daily Drip and all the Sixers fans in our prayers tonight because, man.
Can I say the difference between Devin Booker and Giannis is the way Giannis has developed in the league, the way the Bucks have made him. At this point, he can't be a second option. He doesn't know how to be that. Devin Booker, he can be like a second or even third option at times because he's adapted that in his game. Giannis has to be the guy because that's what they thought he was. But in reality, he's best as a second option. Like, think about it. Shaq had Kobe. Giannis needs that another player like that. And Chris Middleton can be that at times. He has shown that. But I just think the way they run their offense, obviously. Mm-hmm. But the way they run their offense, it doesn't really give him the opportunity to do that more consistently, if that makes sense.
I feel like Giannis, it's time for him to just be like a center, if that makes sense. Because
exactly,
he can do like all the stuff that you see Ayton doing right now. You know, I feel like he could do it even a little bit better.
Exactly.
So I don't know why they don't utilize him like that, and then they just put the solid players around him. You can't be having these guys that are up and down, you know, like, I don't know, like a roller coaster or something.
It's because they trick themselves into thinking something that he's not. And the reason I know that is because the Sixers organization did the same thing to our fans with Ben Simmons. They tricked us into thinking he was a point guard, when in reality, you can't be a point guard if you don't shoot. Same thing with Giannis. You can't be a point guard. You can't run the show if you can't hit a perimeter jumper consistently. It's that simple.
I'm kind of going on like the other side of the street here, and I don't really know where I'm going with this, so just a warning. But you know, Giannis has won 2 MVPs, and I get it, his career's not over yet. But like, there's been lots of players in NBA history that might have won 1 MVP or a couple MVPs, and then, you know, they had their Hall of Fame legacy. But, you know, like you guys were talking, you know, Devin Booker maybe down the road might be the more dominant player. And I guess where I'm kind of going with that is Devin Booker's 24 years old, 6th year in the league with the Suns, and he's already a top 10 Suns player all time. And he's going to be the Suns all-time leading scorer, which is Walter Davis at like 17,000 or something like that. And it's pretty incredible what Devin Booker's doing at a young age, and he's so mature, and he calls himself a student of the game. And I just made a video about Booker, you know, paying tribute to the Phoenix Suns history with all those vintage Sun shirts. And just Devin Booker, man, is just, he's the Valley Sun. And I'm just going to some comments here.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go for
it. Well, you mentioned that video, and I saw that video, and I replied to, shout out to Sawbucks23. Yeah. I don't know if they're in here. Said, it wouldn't surprise me if Booker ends up being the greatest Sun of all time. And I said, if he's there until the end, I could see it happening. Because,
absolutely.
I mean, Steve Nash was great. He was very dominant there. Charles Barkley had great moments there, but they weren't there.
Charles Barkley was only there for a few years too, you know?
Yeah, Booker's already been there longer than Charles Barkley was. Exactly. And then in terms of Nash, he was there those 8 years, and then he had those few years at the beginning, but I don't think many people really consider that when they're talking about like Steve Nash as a Sun. So I don't know. I could very well see it, especially if they win a championship this year.
Philly Take with RB, says, what are you going to do if the Suns win it all? Parade vlog? I've talked to a few people about that. I'm like, I feel like that's my only option. I feel like I have to just spend the money, fly back to Phoenix, go absolutely nuts. Yeah, like live stream and vlogs and just get sunburnt and all that stuff. It's going to be nuts if they win the championship, and it's going to be absolutely incredible.
Chuga was another great comment.
Giannis is an athletic specimen. His skill level isn't that high, though. Book's got all the exactly. I 100% agree with that.
I want to make this clear. I'm not being a Giannis hater. The reason I'm so upset about it is because it's setting Giannis up for failure. Now, if he loses, everyone's going to be like, oh, Giannis ain't that guy. He doesn't have a championship, blah, 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 blah. When in reality, it was the front office's fault for making him something that he's not capable of getting to the championship level. Like, the Suns didn't make Devin Booker be the point guard and do everything. They got CP3. Bring him in so Devin Booker can just be the scorer. So
shout out to Ricky Rubio last year too, man. We actually had a point guard in Ricky Rubio. Yeah,
that's why I'm being so hard on the Bucks.
Yep. Yeah, I mean I agree with you, man. And I cannot repeat this enough. I feel like no matter what happens in the finals, the Bucks are going to make a lot of changes. And I'm not saying Giannis is going to leave. I think he's going to be there for years to come. But I mean, something's going to happen, and it may not be pretty. And Pedro says, yo, we need 100 likes, or Sun Geek wakes up. And he follows that up with, Geek, we need the merch. Yeah, we do. I don't even know where to begin with that. Let's just get through the NBA finals first. And then and Roy says Geek is going to teach his students about the Suns championship. I love it. I love it. Oh my God. Pedro says, seen an old vlog with Geek talking about we lost Gerald Green to Miami. Yeah, if any of you guys think I'm a bandwagon fan, just go to the YouTube thing and click oldest videos, and you'll see how long I've been around. Some of those videos are very cringy, so please don't go watch those videos, whatever you do. But yeah, guys, that's it. I really don't know if I got anything else. So unless someone wants to save us in the chat, unless you guys got any topics you want to discuss, Suns are up 2-0 in the NBA Finals, and it's just absolutely incredible. And say the word incredible doesn't even describe this season.
I think one thing I'll ask you guys is that, okay, obviously this season there's been tons of injuries all around. Do you think that, like, there's going to be, and it very well could be, you know, someone on the Suns or the Bucks as well, but do you think there's going to be some, like, team or some player that comes out next year with, like, extra revenge and then, like, just tries to show out because of, you know, they weren't able to do it this year? I don't know if that.
Damn. That's a great question.
Because I'm thinking about it, I feel like
the Warriors. I don't know.
Yeah, Warriors.
I feel like the Warriors, man.
Could. I feel like if the Jazz get the right pieces, I think Donovan Mitchell could make some noise. Not saying that they'll win the title, but I think that they might make like a conference finals run or something. I could see it happen.
That's actually a really great question, Super Mario. I love that. I think the Warriors is kind of my cliche answer. And I'll say this too. I mean, obviously COVID and all that, players had a lot of time to work on our games. We saw some very special offensive performances. So think about it. These guys have now had more time off, and, you know, players like Steph Curry are probably just lighting up gyms, and it's going to be insane next season. Maybe someone just mentioned Kevin Durant and James Harden and all
Burner
that. Burner
said Jamal Murray come back.
Oh God, I don't want Jamal Murray to come back because he's a Suns killer. But I absolutely love Jamal Murray. I'm not going to lie to you guys.
Pedro said Portland. I think Dame will have. I think next year is going to be.
Especially if he stays, you know, with all this stuff going on.
I know we don't know like what's going to happen right now, but I'm going to say right here, Dame next year is winning MVP.
I hope so.
Hot take alert number 2.
He's going to win MVP. You heard it here first.
And then he's going to bring that MVP to Philly.
Maybe Chicago. But anyway.
Oh, man.
Zach LaVine for Ben Simmons?
Yeah, whatever.
Hey, you guys don't want to re-sign him. Let's be real. Come on. You don't want to sign Zach LaVine to that big deal. Come on.
No, we know who you want. you want Thaddeus Johnson.
I'll take Thaddeus Young.
You know what? I'm just going to back up Uncle Jacob, who has – it's not even a hot take. This is just a fact. The Lakers are going to trade for Damian, Kawhi, PG, CP3, Steph, and Tom Brady. Watch out. It's over.
Can I say something? I was just scrolling my YouTube feed today, and there's this guy named NBA Talk. I don't know. I just always get him on my recommended. I don't even think I'm subbed to the dude, but – He always posts everyone in a Lakers jersey. I see a new person in a Lakers jersey every day. And today was like the drawing line because I saw Jamal Murray. I'm like, how are the Lakers going to get Jamal Murray? He's going to miss almost all next year.
If you want to make a successful channel, just do that, man. Mm-hmm. Those Lakers, it gets the views.
What am I even doing here? I might as well just do that, and then I'll have millions of subscribers.
and the Lakers just don't have the assets. Like, what are they going to take, Kuz or something? Like, no.
Come on, man. Kyle Kuzma, he just said he could average 25 points a game in the right role.
Maybe in Shanghai.
Yo, I'm sorry to cut this conversation, but this is a great question. And I don't mean to bring the vibe down, but this was a clutch question here.
Whoa,
She says, first off, congrats, guys. It's awesome having our two teams in the finals. Guys, Bucks question. If we lose this series, where do we go from here? And
wait, is he talking about from a Bucks fan perspective?
I think so, yeah. And we kind of talked about that earlier. I think that was a good question. I don't know.
It's a good question. I hate to say this, but I don't know. I mean,
I don't know either. I agree.
Yeah, you go home.
You got to switch. You got to switch Giannis to a center or 4 and 5 and get a real legitimate star point guard next to him.
He's got to move to the center position. I mean, you've seen the way that they could take a lot of notes from this series right here, the way that Ayton's being utilized, because nothing against DeAndre Ayton. He's been playing great all series long, all playoffs long. But I just think Giannis can do what he's doing even at a higher level. So if they did that.
I don't think he has to touch like Ayton around the rim.
I don't know. I think like he, in his back to the basket game, maybe not like his mid-range jumper is a little bit sketch. I kind of like Ayton's mid-range over his, but I don't know. I think that they got to put him at center and see where that goes. I think defensively, he's, probably more athletic than just about any center in the league.
Yo, Super Mario, what do you think of Shaq's comments? He said, he said Giannis is the most dominant player in the Bucks, and Chris Middleton's the best player in the Bucks, and I actually agree with that. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people make fun of me for that.
That's one of those rare times I agree with Shaq.
I feel like it's in a way. I saw somebody compare it to Giannis, very similar to Shaq, and then Chris Middleton, very similar to Kobe. Where Kobe, most of the time with the Lakers, in that first three-peat, he wasn't deemed the best player, but who was the one always taking the shots at the end of the game? And I think you see that a lot, like with Chris Middleton here. Rarely do you see Giannis. I think actually, it might have been one of the two games against the Suns this year that I think Giannis took the last shot at the end of the game. He took I think a mid-range, but you don't really see that often. And I think that's kind of what he's getting at. It's like Middleton is like the closer that, Kobe was in that situation.
I just felt like that question saved us because I was running out of ideas. And, yeah.
It's hard to win when your best player can't hit a mid-range shot consistently.
And misses free throws.
Yeah. So you could be like, yeah, Giannis is playing spectacular. He's putting up 42 points. But you also got to put some critique on him as well. It's not just the other players. Giannis got to change his game a little. They got to get a new coach, obviously. Maybe the coach will
new offensive scheme.
They need a new offensive scheme.
Well, yeah, there's always things that player could do. You could look back at, sometimes like when Jordan didn't make the finals or like what LeBron didn't do or Kobe didn't do or whatever, and they could have done some things better. But I feel like the main part of the blame, I think, first of all, Middleton and Holiday haven't played well, but I think a lot of people are going to look at Budenholzer just because it's been
always go first.
He should have been
a consistent thing, though. Ever since he won Coach of the Year, he's looked like one of the worst coaches of the seasons. So yeah, I don't know.
But Super Mario, is it fair to it can't be a coincidence at this point where Chris Middleton doesn't show up for 5 games and then they get Drew Holiday and then he disappears. But then when Giannis is out, where they play more team ball, he's doing really well. And then Eric Bledsoe, even though Eric Bledsoe sucks, he had the same problem. So that's not a coincidence at this point. It's something's going on, and you got to look into that. You know what I'm saying, Super Mario?
I hear you. I don't know. I don't know if I can necessarily agree because think about when they had you could think back to that series against the Celtics in 2018. They went to 7. Giannis was playing well. Chris Middleton was playing extremely well. I think he had almost a 40-point game in that series. And then they also had Brogdon. He was playing well, and he wasn't playing too bad before and after his injury in 2019. I think after he was a little bit worse, but I think that he could have helped them a lot. And maybe if he didn't get hurt, maybe they go on, who knows, win the whole thing because the Warriors, they didn't have KD. Clay got hurt. So I don't know. I feel like there's just some ways that, yeah, Chris Middleton, he doesn't always show up. That's for sure. But I don't know. I think Drew Holiday got he got massively overrated after what he did against the Blazers and Dame.
Hey, his defense was ridiculous tonight, though.
Yeah. I just think that he's a little overvalued offensively because he's not always going to do like what he did that playoff run. I feel like people just think playoff Holiday is going to show up like how we normally see with like playoff Rondo.
Could be a better playmaker too.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I don't know. That's kind of just what I think.
Someone said Colin Cowherd has Giannis as the third best player in the series. I mean,
which, you know, he's a 2-time MVP, and if he's third best player in the series, what do you think, Ron?
Also, another thing, well, I agree with that, actually. I think it's CP3 and Devin Booker, just because the NBA, let's be real, rewards guard play at this point. Like,
especially now that the Suns have brought the mid-range game back to the NBA.
Giannis is not allowed to use his power. Like, if he does, he'll get called for an offensive foul. But, like, guards are allowed to, like, just handle him. And it's a problem because, like, centers are becoming extinct. Like, it's the same thing with Embiid. Like, people say he flops and all that, but he gets fouled pretty much every play if you look at it because guards are allowed to use their power against them and kind of just hold them. But then when Giannis or Embiid exert their power, it's an offensive foul. And Van Gundy said something about this tonight. I don't know if you guys heard it, but the way the NBA is, it rewards perimeter play, and Giannis is the opposite of that. So that kind of makes Devin Booker and CP3 more valuable and the better players, in my opinion.
Well, I wouldn't say that they're necessarily better, but I think that there's probably 5 people that you can pick that are bigger X factors in this series than Giannis, because I think it depends on what Middleton and Holiday are going to do for the Bucks, and then what you'd see from Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton. You could even argue Mikael Bridges as well, because the reason I say that is because you know what you're going to get out of Giannis pretty much every single night. You know, he's good for around 25, 35 points on any given night. Tonight he had, 42? So even a little bit more. But it's just like he's going to miss some free throws throughout the game. You can already expect that. And he's going to probably get a few offensive fouls throughout the game as well, kind of get a little bit out of control. So that's why it's like you already – like I could probably go in. I think if I were to do sports betting, I would have the best luck putting my money on Giannis for what he's going to do for a game than probably any other player in this series. If that makes sense. I don't know. And
then he shoots threes. It's like,
yeah, like over under 1.5 threes taken a game. Like I'm going over.
Also, another thing, these franchises are too scared to like critique their players, and like Ben Simmons, for instance. It always goes back to the Sixers. Like Giannis, he could practice all the free throws he wants. He can practice all he wants. He could get in the gym for 24 hours tonight and shoot with that piss poor form. It's not going to help. He has to change his form. It doesn't matter if you keep practicing with terrible form. Nothing's going to change. So they got to hire a shooting coach or something. Like how could you sit there for like 3 seasons and be like, yeah, his form's fine. Like I don't get that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just saying I'm old school, man. And if I were a coach in the NBA, players would hate me because I would have them in the gyms after games shooting free throws. And
you can't practice with terrible form. It's not going to get better.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying, Romp. The only thing I disagree with there is the fact where you say a lot of these like coaches or the management is more scared to criticize the players. Because I feel like you'll see more nowadays where players are trying to like hop teams and they're trying to like, oh, like they got to trade so-and-so. They got to get him out of there. Whereas like back in the day, if a team lost, like if it was the 90s or the 2000s or something, if a team lost, they would usually like run it back and they wouldn't make like any big change. They might like make changes with the role players or something on the bench, but you wouldn't see like a player of Ben Simmons caliber or Giannis's caliber like getting this criticism. Maybe it's like, oh, we got to get rid of him, or oh, we got to like change the whole team just to.
It's mainly just the role players. I agree.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's my only difference there.
I just don't get how you could just shoot with that terrible form and just keep doing it. Like, isn't someone like telling him like you got to switch your form up, bro?
It's like Kid Gilchrist a little bit. He like brings his elbow like all the way in or something.
And don't get me wrong, not everyone has to have amazing form, but obviously it's not working. So like he's got to change something.
Well, hey,
he's hurting the team.
Phoenix Suns legend Shawn Marion, he made it work.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Starbucks 23. We were just talking about your comment earlier that I replied to.
Man. It's also about confidence. He obviously doesn't got the confidence at the free throw line.
Thank you for bringing up Suns legend Shawn Marion, who's on my wall, by the way, and is not in the Suns Ring of Honor for some reason, but he really should be. Yeah, he did have a weird form. There have been tons of players. You guys remember, like
Joakim Noah.
Joakim Noah. There's somebody I'm forgetting
Mid-range
about.
God.
Tons of weird players with weird forms.
Shawn Marion.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I'll repeat this again. You know, if the Bucks don't win this series, there's going to be lots of changes, and I do believe Giannis will stay. He's not going to want out or anything like that. He signed that huge contract for a reason. He loves Milwaukee.
Oh yeah, he's not leaving. They just need to change his game.
Yeah, they're going to
tweak it.
You know,
another one, Chuck Hayes. You guys remember him? He like hitched a little bit on his shot.
Oh, it was Michael Redd I was thinking about. Remember Michael Redd? He had a weird-looking jump shot. He played for the Suns, too, by the way. Shawn Marion is the most underrated player in Suns history. Absolutely. And even when he was here, we kept throwing him in all these trade rumors, and no wonder he got traded and then eventually won a championship with the Mavericks because we should have kept him. And who knows what would have happened.
Uncle Jacob said
bigger and better things.
Uncle Jacob said something interesting, saying Shawn Marion is like DeRozan. I've never thought about that, really. I don't know what you guys think.
Damn.
Kinda, I guess.
I mean, I guess that like Shawn Marion could hit the three, but he was never like.
I think DeRozan's more athletic, but Shawn Marion is pretty athletic too.
I think that their capabilities are similar. I think that they're different play styles, though. Like DeRozan's a lot more in the mid range, and just attacking the basket. Which I mean, this is unrelated, but I think DeMar DeRozan probably the most underrated dunker in NBA history.
One of them, yeah, I agree with that.
His early dunks in his career were they were nasty.
And I remember
turning into a playmaker.
Yeah, thank you, Ron. I remember we were talking about that, and you kind of opened my eyes to the fact that DeMar DeRozan is actually an overlooked playmaker, and just kind of he was one of the all-star snubs for a reason, and Shawn Marion, he was never really that kind of playmaker, but he did a lot for the Phoenix Suns, more than just statistics, and we drafted him, and he's the Suns legend for a reason, and yeah, that's an interesting comparison. That might have to be a future video on Suns Geek. I don't know, just saying.
I actually,
oh, my bad.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
Nah, you go.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I think I made like a tweet a few months, like there was maybe a little over a month left in the season, saying how of the top 50 scorers in the league, nobody else had like higher than a 3-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, while DeMar DeRozan had a 4-to-1.
Wow.
So, I mean, that just kind of shows a little bit how overlooked he is as a playmaker.
Oh, Sunsky, can I read one of my tweets again?
Yeah, go for it. This is free time now, y'all. This is free time.
I tweeted during the game, I remember the Suns getting clowned for drafting Cam Johnson because he was too old or his ceiling wasn't high enough. Sometimes it ain't that deep. If a dude can ball, draft him whenever. I just want to get that off my chest.
I'm glad you brought that up, man. Cameron Johnson in the Western Conference Finals was an unsung hero, and this series, what's that?
Does he miss?
No, he does not miss. This series, by the way. This series, by the way, he's only playing 20 minutes per game. He's shooting 53% this series, 46% from three, 11 points. And really, for me, it's just his effort and just hitting those shots when they matter. Even if he goes like 2 for 4 or something like that, like just hitting those big shots, living for the moment. He's a very smart guy. If you listen to him in interviews, He is extremely smart. I think he's got
He's still in school or something.
Yeah, like there was some story that came out. He's getting like his master's or something like that, and just Cameron Johnson was the right pick. And going to Pittsburgh, when he was in college, and then North Carolina, and staying for, I think he had a 5-year college career. Just Cameron Johnson is he's just another one of those quote cornerstones or building blocks, and that the Suns are going to build off of for many, many years to come. And I've always said he's an overlooked defender, in my opinion.
and you know what else is kind of crazy is that I even remember when they made that draft night trade, especially because like how Kobe White reacted to it and stuff like that.
Wow.
He's like, wow, bro. But no, like I remember how, because I believe it was Sarge was traded with him along with Johnson, and then you guys gave up the pick for Jarrett Culver.
Yep. Who
I'd say Cam Johnson's better than like currently. No slant. I mean, if there's Timberwolves fans in here, I'm sorry to burst your bubble.
Are you kidding me?
I mean, Cam Johnson is better.
Obvious.
I mean, I remember one of the takes with Jarrett Culver was like, he's good at a lot of things, but he's not like great. And I know he's been injured, so he hasn't really had a chance to like shine, but like clearly that was the right move. And we got Dario Saric. Poor Dario, man. He had such a roller coaster season. There was one point where I was crazy and I thought he was going to win Sixth Man of the Year. And then he had like some kind of an injury, and then he got COVID and he was in and out of the rotation. Poor Dario, man. I don't know. But yeah, Uncle Jacob says, I understood what James Jones was doing with drafting Cam Johnson. He built around Book and DA and got wing shooters. And in any era of basketball, you can never have enough wings, in my opinion.
My thing about the draft is just draft a good player. Like, even if he doesn't have a highest ceiling or highest potential, like, just draft a good player. I'm not going to complain if you get a good player. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, you could have had this guy. But if the player sucks, then I'm going to be like, oh, you could have had freaking Jamal Murray instead of Ben Simmons, So
and let's be real. Every team, no matter what, the draft is unpredictable. So even if you miss on a guy or you get a guy, the draft's unpredictable.
I think teams look too much into potential, into length and size,
I'm
and what a player
too, to be honest.
And what a player could be. How about you just look at what they actually are?
Yep.
Because what they could be is a hope and a dream. But what Cam Johnson was one of the best shooters in the draft. So you know what you're getting. And James Jones is like, I want a shooter. Give me that. And look at it now.
And before we get Super Mario Hoops thoughts on that, I mean, I guess I was kind of guilty of that, the whole like over-analyzing guys and all that, because the Suns were terrible and they were in the lottery every year. And Super Mario Hoops, what do you think about that, just in terms of, teams over-analyzing players? And do you agree with me in terms of like, sure, lots of teams have had great drafts, and a lot of teams do, for the most part, get their picks right. But like, do you agree that like every team doesn't know what the hell they're getting into when they draft somebody?
I mean, I think a lot of it is situational. Like I'll refer like my Bulls here, how in 2018 I was pushing for us so much to get Michael Porter Jr. because everyone wanted him there, and I think after the
would have been a nice fit now looking at it.
Like and he was projected to go like I think 8th or 7th, my bad.
I wanted the Sixers to take him too.
And we had the 7th pick. I think like Mo Bamba just got picked. And I'm like, take Michael Porter. And then we take freaking Wendell Carter, who I have to sit through like 2.5 seasons. And then like it's situational because I mean, even again, like with my Bulls, like how Lauri Markkanen gets so much hate and Kobe White gets so much hate, and they're not really bad players. It's just that I feel like they're kind of misutilized.
Yeah.
Especially Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah, and I don't get why Bulls fans are so mad. Like I thought he was before the Vucevic trade. I thought he was our second best player. Now people treat him like he's some bum, like Kyle Kuzma level or some like type of slander, at least in terms of like the Bulls nation.
I'll say this too, because I'm an NBA history fan. Like, it's just clear now. Maybe this will change over time, but you pick the best, I guess, fit for the time. Maybe I'm like old school when I say that. We've seen tons of situations where players picked, like let's say Sam Bowie over Michael Jordan, because at the time that was what you did, Obviously now that's going to change, and I don't know, Romp, what do you think?
I think the reason Bulls fans are so hard on them is because they expected them to be like way better than they actually could be. And also I think a lot of player success is based on the situation they're put into. Like everyone's good who makes the NBA. Let's just make that clear.
Amen, brother.
It's
Amen.
just that sometimes they're put in a situation where it's just not meant to be. Like look at Torrey Craig. He didn't play on the Bucks. But I'll look at Payne,
Amen, brother.
So it's like a lot has to do with situation. A lot has to do with the vibe of the team, the coaches. Like if you have a good, think about if you ever played basketball, you're probably going to play worse on a team where you don't like the people you're playing with. Maybe that was with Cam Johnson with the Chicago Bulls, but maybe he went to the Suns and he vibed with the coaching staff, vibed with the players. It's all about situation. So that has a lot to do with player success. And that's why the front office and the coaches are so important.
I mean, look at like Jeff Teague in Atlanta, obviously was struggling near the end, and then he went to Indiana. Never mind. I'm lying.
Something Super Mario Hoops 24 on YouTube. I feel like you have some kind of beef with Jeff Teague here, and I don't appreciate that.
I do not like Jeff Teague.
And Romp, I feel like you got some kind of beef with this Ben Simmons guy.
I got a beef with front offices because they're a bunch of overpaid people who think they know basketball, but they don't. At Sixers front office. Sorry.
Oh, I don't like Jeff Teague whatsoever. Usually I'll hate on the players that are on my team, because I'll see them every night and I'll be like, dude, you suck, Denzel Valentine. I hate you, Thomas Satoransky. But no, Jeff Teague it's just different. It's a lot different.
I want to agree and disagree with Uncle Jacob here, because don't forget, Uncle Jacob, Payne was pretty damn good in the bubble. And I was shocked when we got him. I was like, Payne, like, what the hell are we doing?
And Monty.
Monty. I don't know. Can I interrupt here real quick?
Yeah.
This is another good example of probably something where a young player being misutilized. My own Chicago Bulls, the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I mean, I witnessed Cameron Payne. He's improved a lot since. He wasn't nearly as good with the Bulls as he was with the Suns, but we didn't also use him right, especially with like Jim Boylan there. That guy is
Jim Boylan didn't use a lot of players, right? Let's be real.
Yeah, he's on the X list right now.
I'm like the coach. I'm like a coach's biggest fanboy, and I'm criticizing Jim Boylan. I don't know, but Cameron Payne, just his story is incredible. Romp, I know you've made a few videos about it.
So the OKC Thunder are idiots because Cam Payne was a project type prospect, so they drafted him on a win now team, which was just idiotic. And that's probably why he struggled early on. And then he went to the Bulls and they didn't even want him. So of course he's not going to succeed if they didn't even want him. Because
I don't know if it was such a bad trade. I think honestly we got the worst end of that trade too. Cause we sent them like,
what was the trade again? I forget.
They sent us Anthony Morrow, Cam Payne, and Joffrey Laverne. Two of them out of the league now. And then we sent them Taj Gibson, he's still playing, and then Doug McDermott, who I'd say has played his best basketball since he's really been in Indiana. So I love
Doug McDermott.
They just kind of messed up that trade, but that trade was so annoying too for me because I love Taj, he'd been there forever, and then obviously in hindsight, Payne's been good, but everyone else there just sucked. I remember Chicago fans were rioting because Anthony Morrow took number 1 for a little bit. He's like, I'm gonna wear this, and then everyone had like pitchforks and stuff, and they're like, you're not taking Derrick Rose's number.
Yo, Super Mario,
I feel like Chicago should have vetoed that,
Didn't the Bulls clean office this year or something?
Last year.
Yeah. So it's a new front office,
and that's why they got Nikola Vucevic.
You got rid of Gar Forman and moved Jim Paxson to a lowered down role. And I mean I like Vucevic, but that trade, I don't know how to feel about that. I don't mind getting rid of Wendell Carter and Otto Porter. Those guys gave me more headaches than I needed, but I think that the picks is what really does it for me, at least.
I think the difference between the Suns, Sixers, and Bulls right now is the Sixers and Bulls have had terrible, and I mean terrible people making decisions. Just horrible.
You know them personally, Romp? You know them?
Well, I don't know them personally, but
I'm just kidding.
I'm just sick of the front office ruining us. But I look at the Suns.
Let it out, Rob. This is a safe place.
They hire a guy like James Jones who knows basketball. It's not like a guy who played basketball at his local high school at Sixers. But he knows basketball, played in it, and he's just making simple moves like that people won't like. He made the Dario Saric trade. People weren't like going crazy over that. He made the Torrey Craig trade. No one was going crazy over that. But it's just smart moves like that because he knows basketball and he had a vision of how to build a winning team. And the Suns are literally every player complements each other. It's crazy. So a lot of the issues on other NBA teams is the front office just making stupid decisions.
I think that the Bulls' problem started ever since we traded Suns draftee Luol Deng. But we traded him for Andrew Bynum, who we let go literally like 12 hours later.
You mean Sixers legend Andrew Bynum?
Yeah, Sixers legend too. We both have a history with Andrew Bynum. But I just think that once we did that, because we didn't want to pay Luol Deng in his best year, then everything else started to follow. We didn't get Melo, got Pau Gasol. And then once we traded like Rose, I thought we were just going to start over. They're like, we're going to go young. And then we signed a 33-year-old D Wade and Rajon Rondo.
And doesn't that piss you off, man?
And then we had to buy him out. That made it even worse. It's like we signed him to a deal for 1 year. We bought them both out and then trade Jimmy Butler for Chris Dunn, who was pretty trash, Markkanen, and Levine. So I mean, Levine was the good thing that came out of it, but other than that, nah.
I don't know how long you guys want to keep going for, but I do want to
2 hours.
I do kind of want to quickly answer this question. Who do the Suns keep if only one, Craig or Payne? This is where the Suns offseason is going to get really tricky, and I don't want to even be the guy to try to answer these questions because of the salary cap and money and all that. I would say right now, and I love Torrey Craig, the guy deserves to be back. But I'd say right now it's Payne just because he is a backup point guard and he's really good and he's had great moments in the playoffs. But Torrey Craig, I can't, his value's huge too. That's kind of like a, I don't know. That's a really great question. I just kind of wanted to address it. And Sawbucks, says, I love Craig, but Payne was more important. I agree. I wish we could bring back both of them. You guys got any thoughts on that?
I'd say Torrey Craig, just because I high-fived him 2 years ago at a Pacers game. So
you guys are like instantly bonded.
We're like buddy. Yeah, he knows me. Like
he sends you jerseys and
we go way back. We go way back.
Romp, what do you think, man?
I mean, it's obviously Payne.
Mm-hmm.
If you took away that high five, Super Mario would say the same thing. But
hey, I gave him the Torrey touch.
I don't know if it's possible, but don't make the Suns offseason complicated. Just bring back everyone. I know it's not possible, but
just do it. I agree.
It's really not complicated.
Just
like
pull Warriors and get into the luxury tax and just sign everybody.
Like, you're in the finals.
Yep.
How old is Bridges? 24 or whatever.
23.
Isn't Devin Booker 24 too?
They're all under 25.
Yeah. So
that's kind of
really easy. It's really simple. You sign all of them.
Yep.
Even it might not be the right move, like down the road,
right. But right now,
mm-hmm. You have to do it. It's kind of like drafting DeAndre Ayton. Like that was the national media's number one pick.
I can't believe I didn't reference that when I was talking about the draft and picking, for need and all that. Like that was a great example of that.
Whoa, Starbucks, man. Oh my God.
Wait, what did he say?
You just said that.
The whole oh, I'm sorry.
No, not that one. Not that one.
My bad. Here we go. Unpopular GM move. I would let CP3 walk and use that money for everyone else. Sorry, Sawbucks. No. Sorry, no.
The Bulls can take CP3. Maybe we'll go to the finals and win a championship.
Yeah,
you there, Reliable? Reliable Rance was at the game tonight, man. Reliable, do you still have a voice?
Bro, I mean, I wasn't yelling as much. It was mostly like that was probably the loudest place I've ever been in my whole life.
I was gonna ask you what was like the vibe there, and like was it like a college game? Like it was like crazy loud, and Well, how was
Yeah,
your
it was-
experience at the game, man?
It was the loudest, like just room I've ever been in, like by far. Like it was like insane. My ears are falling off.
Romp, are you still here?
The Giannis 10 counts were like the funniest thing ever. It was crazy.
Romp, are you still here? Something's going on.
He's doing something, I think, or something's happening.
Yeah, something's going on. That's awesome, Reliable. Thank you for joining us. We're just kind of doing free time right now, man. We're just chilling and having a great conversation.
On, so I was like,
yeah, man. I'm glad you had fun. How's the weather like in Phoenix, man?
Oh my god, it was like 111 at 9 p.m. Like,
wow,
it's insane. This is the hottest weather I've ever been in.
Follow-up question: How was your first NBA? Was that your first NBA Finals game?
Yeah, 100%.
And how was that? Like, did it feel different from like a regular
Yeah, it definitely
season?
felt different.
Right.
Yeah. It was completely sold out. Everybody.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like you walk in and there's like this crazy energy. Everybody's yelling and screaming.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time someone would score, something crazy would happen. Like, bro, like the decibel level got to maximum. It was crazy.
Insane, man. That's wild. I hope one day I get to experience that. It really sucks that I can't be living in Phoenix right now when they're in the NBA Finals, but real life comes first. And I'm just so glad you got to go to a game. I got other friends and other people in the Suns community that were at the game tonight, and I've been texting all my friends. I'm like, yo, what's the vibe like in Phoenix right now? And they just said it's indescribable. Seriously, like it's
I got when I got here in the morning, like I was in taxi, and then like on the street were just people in Phoenix Suns jerseys, just like
right.
So it's just like the vibe is crazy.
And like I have an opinion on all the bandwagon fans, but I welcome them all, and I welcome all the fans that are. And Super Mario Hoops, we talked about this on your video, like the term "rally the valley" that the Suns have been using. It's true, like. They're bringing back old fans. They're bringing back new fans and fans like me that have been around and all that. And it's just incredible. Congrats to the Suns. I'm a CP3 fan, and Suns fan might be the best fans among all the teams CP3 has played with. So this kind of leads into, Reliable Rants going to a game and the environment and all that. And but they have to wear matching colors in the finals. Go Suns in 4. And Romp's laptop died, but
Romp's getting back.
Romp, thank you so much for joining. If you're still watching, man, and you guys helped carry me, and I think this live stream was great. Reliable. Before we end this, you got any just thoughts on tonight's game? And I mean, I feel like we've kind of talked about everything, but what did you take away before we go? And then eventually we'll close this out. So what did you think?
I thought when it comes to like momentum swings, first quarter was, or at least first half of the first quarter, the Bucks had they hit like 3 shots in a row and took a pretty like good lead on the Suns. So they had momentum in the first, and like the vibe of the arena kind of got off to like a cold start. But that just shows like the whole rally the valley term is like real. So like no matter the energy, the team just comes back, and then that happened. And it was crazy. Like, it got really close throughout the fourth quarter, so that was really nice to like.
Thank you for agreeing with me that, because Romp and Super Mario Hoops didn't agree with me. They were like, "Oh, we didn't really feel like this game was, at a panic level or anything like that."
No, it definitely wasn't. I don't think
maybe it's different being there though. I don't know, because I've never been to a finals game, so I don't know how that atmosphere is. But probably crazy. But like the pin drop plays, and then like where everyone's like, "Oh my god!" Like Devin Booker's the next coming of Jesus or something.
He is, man. He's the Valley Son. I'm serious. Like he's incredible.
Every time the refs called a foul, like the Bucks shot free throws, like bro,
Romp is back. Romp
the
lives.
Chance, like refs, you suck. It was crazy.
And then the Giannis countdown and all that.
Yeah,
that's
like even if it was a foul, like they'd still boo. Like it was crazy.
Absolutely. Shout out to Raider, who says, shout out from Cuba, Suns Nation. We are worldwide. Raider's been in lots of these live streams. Big supporter of mine. I appreciate you, Raider. Romp, are you here?
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys. So what we'll do for like the last 5 minutes is...
You're so close to 2 hours, man. You got to just push the limit here.
Yeah, you got to...
Let me show off my Devin Booker t-shirt then.
15 more minutes? Bro, that's...
All
I
right.
could rant about anything if you want me to.
All right. Well, then last 15 minutes we will we'll have free time and we can do our rants let's start with you then, Romp. I'll put you on the spot. What do you want to rant about for the last 10 minutes? 15
I just
minutes.
want to ask Reliable, do you think the Bucks can win with Giannis as the number one option?
Romp is saving this live stream.
I don't see the Bucks winning this series at all. But look, Giannis showed up tonight, man. In the third quarter,
Facts.
he took every single shot, especially every time he scored the pin drop.
They killed us in the paint, dude. We were talking about that.
Yeah, because all his other teammates were standing around.
Drew Holiday and Middleton were just bad tonight. They're just bad.
I mean, think about it. When you play basketball, when you're just standing around like that, like, are you going to do good?
I agree with you. Bro,
well, I think that's I don't know if I even addressed this. Sorry to butt in, but I don't know. I just think that like when you saw the Warriors play, like when they had Curry and Clay and KD, and I know like the Bucks aren't that good, but the good thing about them is that like when someone had the ball, like Curry was able to move off the ball really well. So was Clay. I feel like the Bucks, like if Drew Holiday has the ball, everyone else might just stand, or if Giannis has the ball or something like that. But like they don't really have great off-ball movement either. So
a lot has to do with Bud.
Terrible system, yeah. Like they're just
over.
Monty just completely outcoaches them. 100%.
Yeah. I saw a lot of people in the comments doing their top 5 point guard lists. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Who do you got, Super Mario?
Sorry, guys. I was
For my top 5?
Yeah. Not like, is it all time or like in the league right now?
They were doing all time. I saw like people throw out Magic and Isaiah.
Yeah, Magic, Steph, Oscar, Isaiah, Stockton, CP3 gets
I think
5
it's
if
so
he wins.
stupid. It's so stupid ranking players from different eras. It's like you put Steph Curry and Isaiah Thomas in the same discussion, but it's like, bro, like I don't know, like
that's
the
Super
whole
Mario's
thing about
bread and butter.
if you put like
I do that a lot.
What do you guys think about like if you put Bill Russell in today's NBA, he's like an 8 and 7 player? Does that take away from his legacy, or is that just the NBA evolving? Because that's what I think it is. Like when you try to rank players from like different eras, like you have to like it's just like the skill level is so different because of how the game has evolved. I think.
Well, what I think about like Bill Russell is, I think for his career he averaged about 14 points a game. So he might not be that offensive threat. He might not be the floor spacing big that you see like Jokic and Embiid or Towns or something today. But if personally, I feel like he's the best defender ever, because I think that, if defensive player of the year was a thing back then, he probably would have at least like 4 or 5. He's one of the most athletic bigs of all time. Don't let the fact that he played in the Plummer era try and like confuse you and like say that he wasn't, because he was. One of the quicker bigs of all time too. So that kind of gets overlooked. He could guard like wherever on the
freak.
So that's where he would be. And also like one of the better rebounders too. He'd be doing like Andre Drummond type of stuff on the glass. So
Dennis Rodman stuff on the glass, man.
Yeah.
They always say like they're the Plummer era, but at the same time, you look at players today, like there's some scrawny individuals like Nick Claxton. I feel like I could split him in half,
An electrician won MVP this year, is what they'll say.
Yeah, I guess.
And Jokic.
I'll just say this
Jokic.
about the Bill Russell era, and this is where I get into NBA geek history mode or whatever the case may be. That was back when the NBA first started and players were allowed to like smoke on the bench, like Tommy Heinsohn and all them, and players were not in the shapes that they were. And, just they had different medicine back then and different workout routines, and just, it was a different era. But I'm biased. I'm extremely biased and passionate about this. Like, I do believe if Bill Russell played in today, he'd still be super dominant. But to Reliable Rant's point, there are players in NBA history who I even love that probably wouldn't be as good as they are today. But you could flip that. What if you took some players today and put them in like the 80s or 90s? Like they might be better.
Dominate.
Yeah.
But Uncle Jacob said drop Steph into the 80s or 90s. Defense would lose their minds trying to guard him.
Facts.
But you think he could handle the physicality?
Nope.
Well,
Especially with those ankles.
The thing I always say, well, first of all, there's 2 points to this. First of all, that's about the time where his dad played, so it would kind of be weird, like playing in the same league with his dad. Like in their prime years. But the second thing is, if he was playing in the 80s and 90s, do you realistically think that he'd be taking about 10 threes a game?
Yeah, that's true too.
He wouldn't. Like, he might be a Reggie Miller type of shooter, a Ray Allen type of shooter for sure, but I doubt that he'd be prioritizing that in his game. So maybe that takes a little bit away from him as well. But yeah, I don't know if people really pay much attention to that.
I have the hottest take ever.
Oh God.
All right, here we go.
Number 1, Chris Paul got the best mid-range jumper as a point guard in today's league. And then number 2 is TJ McConnell.
Is underrated.
I don't think that's
His mid-range jumper is fire.
I don't think that's a hot take at all.
Dude, he's a good defender too. Didn't he I don't know if he led the league in steals, but I saw something about his steals. I don't know. He's a good defender, man.
Yeah, he is. 10 more minutes, Tunsky.
I'm not trying to end the stream. I'm just
Yeah, you are, man. I see you looking at me like
I'm
that.
just well, I would if you had your camera working tonight,
I feel like Ben Simmons carrying bricks isn't better though.
Exactly. I don't even know what I was going to talk about just now. I just lost my train of thought.
Whoa, reliable guy.
Reliable just left. Z's
what are your confidence levels for the next game, 1 through 10, Suns Geek? As a fan.
8.5, and I would say 8.5, and I'll say this because I said it earlier.
For the Suns winning?
Yeah, for winning game 3, 8.5. Because, again, if this is the best effort the Bucks can give us in a series, and reliable, I'll put you on the spot here. I said earlier, I was like, if this is the best effort that the Bucks can give us, then this series is over. So what's your confidence level in the Suns? And do you think if this is a game 3 repeat, are the Suns going to sweep or at least win in 5?
Well, first, can you guys hear me, by the way?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yep.
Okay. First, I want to say, bro, once the Bucks go back to Milwaukee, obviously home court advantage is going to play a big part. Because if Bucks fans are going to act like what I heard in the arena tonight, the momentum swing is going to be hard.
I give those Bucks fans props, man. They're outside the arena and shit. Props,
yeah, you gotta.
man.
You gotta take it into consideration. It's the opposing team. If you were there tonight, bro, I wouldn't be able to play in that arena against the team, against the Suns, because it was crazy. So I think their home court advantage is gonna help them. But look, yeah, if I think it's obvious that if the Suns win game 3, then they're sweeping the series.
Like we saw in the Nuggets series.
Yeah, 100%. I just don't think. I just don't. I think the motivation gets higher for the Suns after game 3, and it decreases for the Bucks because they're down 3-0. So I just think that's a mental aspect to it. But look, I still think personally, I think the Bucks will win game 3, just out of just what I've seen. But I don't think they'll win the series.
I
do agree that they're a good road team. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm pretty confident in the Suns. As a matter of fact, this isn't a real buzzer. It's a soccer ball thing. But if I was Charles Barkley right now, I'm guaranteeing the Suns will win game 3. It will happen.
No, I don't
heard it
think
here
the Suns will win
first.
I don't think the Suns will win game 3. But.
You guys already hit the button. It's going to happen.
You might as well just purchase your plane ticket to Phoenix now, because I think
I just don't want to do it on the wrong day and show up and we have to play another game and have to fly back home.
You go outside, there's no parade.
Bro, see, if you come a day after I leave, bro, come on.
I know, right? I know.
I just can't watch. I can't watch the Bucks anymore. I'm going on vacation, so I won't be on the live stream. So I think I'm just avoiding the Bucks. I can't see Giannis play the way he does. They're just misutilizing him. I can't do it to myself, because the whole game I'm just pissed off because I'm like, oh, they're doing it all wrong.
Well, on Sunday,
Ron, what would you change?
Oh, sorry.
I have a question for you, bro. What would you change?
What would I change?
Yeah, you're talking shit about the system so much.
Make him a power forward and a center, and sometimes he can handle the ball. Like in transition, he can handle the ball, but half court, he should never be at the top of the key because the Suns just play in the paint.
I mean, he had 20 points in the third quarter. He was getting
but what did he do for everyone else?
Bro, no one else was showing up.
And why weren't they showing up? Because he was just the offense.
Bro, that wasn't, bro. Start the game off, Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday were shooting like every single shot.
Yo, reliable. When you play pickup.
But they weren't making those shots.
Yeah, exactly. That's why Giannis stepped in and took over.
You're a young lad, reliable, so I know you play hoops. When you play with a guy who is just do you like playing with a guy who's just isoing and probably that shot's going up? Because Giannis ain't like a fantastic playmaker like Chris Paul. Like when Chris Paul gets in the paint, it's like, oh, he might pass it, he might float it over the top, he might lob it. When Giannis gets in the paint, most likely it's going up. So in his teammate's head, automatically out of human nature, they're thinking, oh, I'm not getting the ball. So they just stand there. And that's horrible offense.
Okay, it's the same thing with Joel Embiid then.
I know. That's why I'm mad.
So you're mad. So you don't like what Joel Embiid ISOs either then?
No, because he doesn't play point guard. Like
what does it have to do with anything?
No. What makes me mad, thank you for bringing this up, is Giannis has the people who could do it. Joel Embiid doesn't have it. He has Ben Simmons. Like, come on, man. Yeah. Like Drew Holiday, he can do it.
Okay, but bro, Giannis, it's not like Giannis is making bad decisions once he gets in the paint. Most of the time it's either a score or a foul or a kick. Okay.
Yeah, so and a foul is a bad possession for the Bucks because he's going 1 for 2.
I could agree with
that. We talked about that earlier.
I think you're acting like Giannis is just doing bad things with the ball when he gets into the paint.
Oh, it's not Giannis' fault. Don't get me wrong.
He had 42 and like 15 tonight. But yeah, no, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but what did he? Yeah, 42 but if you were watching that game, we all knew the Suns were winning. Like it was like, to me, that 42 points. It wasn't that. It was 42 points, but it wasn't like Devin Booker's 31 points.
Yeah, but bro, it's like Drew Holiday and Middleton still had opportunities. It's like they still shot shots. They still had opportunities. It's so
that's true,
and they just weren't hitting. So yeah, but I think Super Mario was saying something before we got into that. If you wanted to,
no, I was just gonna say because I think you guys were talking about like when Romp said you're gonna have to head out to Phoenix or buy a plane ticket to Phoenix to Suns Geek. But I was just gonna say I think I'm going to Wisconsin on Saturday, but I don't know how possible it even is to get a ticket. I don't know. Should I join your district in Game 3? I don't know if I should.
Yeah, you should go. And you should try to like tell Budenholzer like my game plan because
should I go there? Bad. Should I go there and wear my old Steve Nash jersey or something just to see if people like hate on me?
I mean, Bro, Budenholzer is kind of bad person.
You should take a picture and send it to me.
I think I've had that since I was like 11, though. So
bro,
it probably doesn't.
Budenholzer's a big guy, bro. Like in person, low key, like he's like kind of big. Bro, and Monty Williams is tall as hell. Monty Williams is like 7 feet.
Yeah, he played in the NBA.
He used to play San Antonio Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
Learned everything from Greg Popovich, man.
Z-Tune is my burner account, I think.
Yeah, that guy's been the MVP of the chat, man. What did he say? Giannis has been put in a role he can't. Handle.
It's not his fault. I'm not blaming him.
Shooters need to get in a rhythm. Giannis didn't let his shooters get their rhythm. Simple.
But it's not just Giannis. I mean, like, yeah, there's some things that Giannis could have done better to get the other players involved, but the off-ball movement was just bad. Part of that is just the players, like
the momentum. There's no momentum.
And Budenholzer,
right?
Budenholzer.
Well, Budenholzer, and then that's just kind of bad IQ for the players. Like at least, well, I don't want to get too much into this because I'm not no NBA player. But when I played back in the day, usually I try to like get to the open seams, like to, if I'm trying to get like on the perimeter for an open 3 or something like that. So I just feel like that the Bucks don't do that. Like, yeah, you'll see in the corner like PJ Tucker occasionally, but you even saw sometimes in the corner like DeAndre Ayton would kind of stunt out at him. And then, like, when PJ Tucker has to put the ball on the floor, it's over. Like, Suns and 4.
Yeah. But Super Mario, here's the thing. they can't cut anywhere if Giannis is at the perimeter because the whole Suns team is in the paint. So where are they going to cut? If they cut
Well,
the
that's
paint,
the thing.
there's going to be more people in the paint.
If he draws defenders, then he can kick. That's just
I said
how
earlier
basketball
that
works.
if Giannis has the ball, I don't like when Giannis has the ball at the top of the key and he's isolating. They need to play him more like in the short corner, like you see a lot with the Lakers. I mean, like with AD, at least when he's not, because AD is at least, you know, capable of isolating from like 15 feet or something like that. But
yeah, Anthony Davis like doesn't get the ball on the top of the key. Like when in those two games versus those 2 games versus the Suns, like we were giving him the ball in the post and it was working and we won both games. So I can agree with you on that. Yeah,
that's I think what they need to do with Giannis. They need to make him like a center. Then speaking of AD specifically, that's what helped him a lot last year when they won the championship. Like when he had to play center. I know he didn't like it, like in New Orleans and stuff, but I mean he adjusted to it and it resulted in a ring, and that's kind of what everyone cares about at the end of the day.
But another thing is Giannis doesn't have post moves like AD. His whole game is literally just like that he has. The way he scores is like okay. I kind of
I think his post hook. I think you're underrating his post hook. But
if we think about it, Giannis
players
really
need to use the hook shot.
Oh my god! I just had a revelation.
What reason they even say?
Oh my god! The reason they put Giannis at the top of the key is because the only way he could score is getting a running start.
Exactly.
He can't back down.
That's what
this is 100% Giannis's fault. No, I'm kidding.
I don't.
He does need better post moves though.
Yeah.
That's a
fact.
If
you think about it, Giannis doesn't really post up. Like when does Giannis post up? Right? Like
because he doesn't have anything in his bag.
It's always him going downhill and doing that Euro step thing or the spin move. So like, yeah. Did y'all talk about the Torrey Craig thing tonight?
Yeah, we did.
Bro, in person,
how was that live time?
Bro, in person, I had the best angle. That was like a WWE like smash, bro. That looked insane from my angle.
Dude, and I said this too. I was like, Monty Williams said, you know, Torrey Craig is a tough dude. So if he's not getting up or if he's hurt like that, clearly he's, you know, something's wrong.
Bro.
You know?
Well, that's the other thing. Like, not all the time when Giannis goes to the basket is he going to get the call. And even if he does get the call, it's Giannis that we're talking about.
Yep.
You know, like he's probably good for 1 or 2 with the free throw line.
Yep.
Right. So I don't know. I just think that if he's playing more down low, like short corner, I think you're kind of underrating his post hook though. Like post fade, yeah, it's not that great for him. He was hitting him today though, but I wouldn't count him.
That was an anomaly. Like when he was hitting them, I was waiting for him to just brick 3 in a row.
But usually his post hook is not that bad, and he usually actually.
But can he hit it consistently?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, like he has a quick turn over his shoulder.
In that, why? If he did have the confidence in it, he would do it a lot more than he does.
Well, I think he just has more confidence that he can like get downhill because he can go by a lot of these big men because he's quicker than him.
He's confident in his strength. You know, that's his thing.
I think the Bucks are screwed, to be honest, at this point. Because
Suns in 4.
Like they have to.
I say Suns in 5.
No, they have to win this year, or they're never getting back.
We talked about that earlier too. You know, there's major changes are happening in Milwaukee, no matter what.
Am I the biggest Giannis hater?
Yes.
I actually disagree with that, bro. Like, if you think of a major change, I think the only major change can be firing Budenholzer. When it comes to the roster, there's no major changes that can even be made unless it's a trading Chris Middleton or Drew Holiday, which probably won't happen. So
that's fair.
I don't know.
That's fair.
But like Budenholzer getting fired would obviously be a major change that they can make. Obviously.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think you guys might have mentioned that before, and I guess they are kind of stuck. You know, that's the risk I guess you take when you sign players like Drew Holiday, just for an example, and trade for certain players, and we'll see what happens. Suns in 4. That's all I gotta say. That's how I'm gonna respond to everything tomorrow. Is just Suns in 4.
What's gonna happen?
Somebody says, I asked this earlier, but do you think this is our easiest matchup yet? Well,
no, they're not.
Nuggets
were
Nuggets.
horrible.
That's where I'm like.
I'm gonna say your only healthy team.
I'm gonna say yes. simply because
because Giannis.
Well, first of all, I think that the Suns' hardest matchup was the Clippers, especially I think if Kawhi came back, that would have been hard to manage that. I think the Lakers, like you said, that was the real test. So then it comes down to Denver and Milwaukee. But like I said earlier, Denver, Phoenix was doing a lot of the right things in that series. But you can also look at the fact that guys like Michael Porter Jr., guys like Aaron Gordon, Will Barton, they're players that are pretty much going to stop themselves a lot. And to a degree, you could see that from Chris Middleton too, but it's also just very low IQ, and at least like their coaching and their adjustments for Denver weren't that bad. I just think that they didn't have enough. Like the Bucks, like they're just always doing the wrong thing. If that makes sense. Like Charles
How'd this team even make the finals?
Charles Barkley said it best. I know, like he has his wrong takes, but in the Nets series, he's like, "Listen, guys." He's like, "I have the Bucks winning the title, but they got to be the dumbest team because they are."
Okay,
Sounds
but
like
I just
Romp
think
when he talks
Sixers
about
close
Sixers.
second, but
They literally are the Sixers, bro.
I honestly
think
think you
about it.
proved our point. You said the Nuggets just didn't have enough, which makes them the easiest matchup, right?
right, but they at least play harder.
Yeah, but the Nuggets had no defense.
I think the Nuggets
Yeah.
still play as a team, and I think that they at least make the right adjustments. That you could have thought, you know what, maybe they can come back. I know a lot of the games were blowouts, but I thought in game 1 and game 4, I'm like, you know what, the Nuggets, they might come back here, and they might force like a game 5 or a game 6. When I
I
watched
have
the
a question.
Bucks-
You think the Bucks? You think the Nuggets without Jamal Murray would beat the team? Would beat that Nets team that the Bucks beat?
Wait, sorry, repeat that. I like
You think-
brain fart.
You think the
brain farted when you
Nuggets?
said-
You think the Nuggets team that the Suns played would beat
The Brooklyn
the Nets without Harden or Kyrie, whatever it was?
if they had Jamal Murray?
Oh yeah.
No, with
absolutely.
like the team the Suns played without Jamal Murray. Because the Bucks did it.
It depends. See, the difference here is that you can't really use that comparison because people will say, oh, so-and-so got to the NBA Finals and lost, so they're better than this team that lost in the conference finals, or they're better than this team that lost in the second round. But you got to realize it's a game of matchups, So,
but
I mean, realistically, though, tell me who on the Nets would stop Jokic.
no one.
Nicholas
But
Claxton Romp.
I still think the Nets would win that series, 100%.
I mean, it could go either way, but you also got to look at the Nets defense in general. Like their defense is a little bit sus. I feel like that players such as Michael Porter Jr. might have played a little bit better. Monte Morris as well. And you got to think Jamal Murray was hurt, but also Will Barton came back later in the series as well. Maybe that would have made a difference. Aaron Gordon was basically useless against the Suns. So maybe he has a bigger impact as well. But yeah.
I want to read a fantastic comment from one of the MVPs of this chat, Uncle Jacob, who says, I hope this gets Suns Geek to 1 million subscribers. No cap. I've been watching for a while, and I can say I am hoping that this brings positive energy and subs to Suns Geek. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Uncle Jacob. I mean, just the fact that I have almost 5,000 subscribers is just unreal, and I appreciate each and every single one of you, including the haters. And I appreciate you three, my guests here, for carrying me throughout this live stream. I normally stream for like less than an hour. No, you saved us, Reliable. You were the insider tonight. You were there, so you kind of carried us at the end. And some of the conversations that Super Mario Hoops 24 and Romp 2.0 got into kind of carried me tonight. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, and I truly appreciate all three of you. And once again, all the links will be down below in the description. Go subscribe to everybody. Most of you guys already know who Romp is, and Reliable, you were there with me during the Lakers series, man. I think every game, if I remember correctly. And
I was on for the Nuggets too, a couple games.
Yeah. And, Romp, you were there as well, and I appreciate all three of you guys. Super Mario Hoops, we've been doing this for a couple games now, and I was on your channel, and I truly appreciate you guys. Yeah.
No comment.
It just got quiet in here.
No.
I think
Uncle
Romp's
Jacob,
falling asleep.
I have a question, but I thought you were gonna end it. So
No,
Bro,
what's your
Romp
question,
really
man?
wants to keep going.
I guess
bro.
we're going for 3 hours tonight. What's going on?
I was
here?
gonna say, dude, the Nuggets with Jamal Murray beat the Suns, and I will answer. I don't think so. But you guys can go more in depth.
It would be a closer series.
Yeah.
Because
I
Jamal
mean, I
Murray
don't
can
know
give you
if-
50 points on any given night.
Yeah, they wouldn't have swept the Jamal Murray Nuggets team.
I think there's a lot more that goes into like how many games you win because like I don't know, like for example, the Cavaliers when they won their championship, they played I think the Pistons in the first round and then they played like the Hawks in the second round. And I believe they swept both of them. But I'd say the Pistons played a lot better because all those teams or all those games were really close. And all those games, you know, the Pistons, you could have argued maybe they would have came back and won. I think 2 of them came down to like 1 possession. So it's different than like, oh, so-and-so won this many games. So I don't know. That's kind of my take on that.
I just think having another star on the court would just obviously open things up for Jokic even more, and then just having Jamal Murray who can create for himself because they didn't have Michael Porter Jr. is more of a spot up shooter. They didn't really have another player that can create for himself out there besides Jokic. So having that and just having Murray who they're used to, like I just don't see, and then Chris Paul having to guard him, I just don't see that team being swept if we're just looking at a simple standpoint. But obviously the Suns would still win that series in my opinion.
I mean, yeah, they didn't come down 3-1 last year twice for no reason. Wait, what was funny?
Is there a comment?
I couldn't. You gotta ban that dude, man.
Oh.
This is the part of the stream where Suns Geek is just in a zone.
Oh, I saw it. Oh my God.
I mean, like we've been live streaming for over 2 hours, and this is where I break. Should I just like quickly show the comments real quick?
No.
I'm sorry, you guys. I had to.
Oh God.
I don't even know what we're talking about. I don't even know. I just know this.
Bro,
So
he
the
wrote that in
Suns
all
are-
caps.
The Suns are in the NBA Finals, and they're 2 games away from an NBA championship. And I almost cried when we beat the Lakers, and I almost cried when we went to the NBA Finals. And I might cry.
Cue the music.
Yeah, I will cry when we win the NBA championship, and I'll drop like $500 and fly back to Phoenix and party my ass off.
Wow, that's inspirational.
Yeah, there's like a mini.
You look
party
like you're
that
about to
happened.
cry now.
Yes, because that fucking comment and the fact we've been live streaming for over 2 hours fucking broke me. Remember the quarantine days when we'd live stream and I like barely
Oh
went
yeah.
on?
And then you made the funny moments.
Which I might have to do tonight, or I might have to make a hot takes moment because Super Mario Hoops over here is the new hot take god. Oh man, this has been a great conversation, guys.
I feel bad for the Bucks, man.
I feel bad for Giannis. I feel like it's having to see the 10 count in person. I just felt bad for him.
I don't.
I didn't know that they were doing that like every game throughout the
it was
playoffs.
I don't
the
feel bad
loudest
for him
thing.
on that. I feel bad they're misutilizing him, but I mean, just make
I can
free
send you a
throws.
video I took of that. Of the
Please
10
do.
count. It was insane. Loudest thing I've ever heard.
And dude, like all the media people, like are like, it's loud in here. Like that's, I kind of feel like the difference. Like, yeah, Milwaukee's got some great fans, and I'm not trying to take away from any other fan bases, but you can tell that the Suns have not been here in 10 years, and it shows. This fan base is loud, and you know, home court advantage is a real thing, but in Phoenix, it's
100%.
different, man. It's different.
This is the closest the Suns have been to a title. They just like evened it out because the last 2 times, you know, they lost 4-2. So, and they're up 2-0, which I mean that's never happened in the finals. So,
Have they been down this postseason?
yeah, they're down 2-1 to the Lakers, right?
Facts. And then they won 9 straight after that, or something crazy like that. 6 straight.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I remember I made a video. I was like, game 4 or 5 was a must win for the Suns. And then you're right, we're liable. They went on 9 straight. And people were like kind of bringing back up the bubble. And I'm like, this is just so much different from the bubble. This is NBA playoff games. And the Suns won 9 straight of them. And I think that's a franchise record for the Suns. And it's just, what a run. This team is special. And someone mentioned this in the comments earlier. They said, with Torrey Craig potentially being out and, Dario Saric being out, we could see more Javon Carter. And I've talked to Ron. I think I've said this to all 3 of you guys. We got guys just chilling on the bench.
Facts. Bro,
Like,
Langston, I want to say something.
chilling.
This probably doesn't matter, but before the game, when they were warming up, bro, Langston Galloway was like the energy bunny, bro. He was like getting everybody hyped and stuff. I just thought that was really cool.
Dude, that guy can go off for like 10 points in a matter of like 5 minutes. And I'm not even joking.
During layup lines, he was like yelling, and you can hear it from like the stands.
Dude, he loves it here. Dude, he's another guy that like I don't know how the fuck they're gonna do it, but they better bring him back because that guy is a freaking.
What do you mean? They can just sign him for a minimum deal.
Dude, no, they can't because we're gonna freaking pay DeAndre Ayton and Bridges and Cam and all these guys like billions of dollars, so we're gonna be broke.
That's minimum. But
Etwan Moore should get playing time.
No. Don't go that way.
Yeah.
Last
He's-
series
yeah.
was terrible.
I know.
He struggled versus the Clippers, but he was good in the regular season, man. Just saying.
He moves like he's 50
I want to
years
see
old.
him win a ring though, because I used to watch him at East Chicago in high school.
He's a
I'd go
good
to
player,
his
man.
game, so I want to see him win a ring, and I want to see Torrey Craig win a ring just because of that iconic moment.
oh my god, that was nuts. Did you guys talk about how Frank the Tank barely got any minutes?
You know
Frank could
something.
start and play all the minutes.
You know
He's the secret weapon.
exactly. I was gonna
They
say
were like
that.
what 11 and 2 when he
no,
started
just-
this year.
Mhm.
'cause
Thank you,
Dario-
Super Mario, for
Since
remembering.
Dario
that.
went out, I just expected him to get more minutes, and like he barely played.
I think
Since
Monty
he's the
just
backup.
experiments sometimes, and he just puts players out for size purposes, like he did with Dario before he got hurt. But Frank knows our offense, man. That's all I gotta say.
I think Abdel Nader might get more playing
Oh
time.
yeah,
Monty mentioned that, and he kind of made a mistake doing that in the Western Conference Finals, I thought. But he likes Abdel Nader. He'll probably play him next game.
He had a few good plays. I think it was game 5 or game 6.
He's a good player. I like
Bridges.
Abdel Nader.
I'm
He's
sad I
young.
didn't get to see a demon mode campaign tonight. He only had like 2 points.
I mean, I kind of talked about that earlier. I was like,
you guys probably already talked about all this. This is
Like,
my fresh thought.
it's okay for him to have a game like he had tonight. Like, he wasn't fantastic or anything, but he's campaign, man. Reminds me so much of Ish
He
Smith.
saved them in the first quarter, man.
He says it every time. Reminds me of Ish Smith.
Hey,
Bro, Suns Geek, his energy in the first quarter was very key because the Bucks were on like they were up like 10 points. PJ Tucker hit a couple threes, then the bench unit came in,
right.
and it was a different game. Like the crowd got into it. Campaign was doing his little dances, looking funny. He's got his weird shot that goes in.
Yeah. No, it did not
I
go
like
in tonight.
Campaign. I like Campaign.
Not because you've made a video about it.
They were actually they actually started blitzing the screens on Campaign, which was interesting. Right away, which is respect.
It's because he's been playing great all
'Cause he's
playoffs
so
long.
fast.
They know. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Can't stay in front of that dude.
Fact.
Dude, and I swear, Campaign I mean, he's obviously learned a lot from Chris Paul, and Chris Paul probably taught him these things, but sometimes when he like makes layups, it reminds me so much of Steve Nash. Like, he literally just carries it. He literally just carries it to the rim. I'm serious, man. Watch him
You
do a
compared
layup, man.
Bro, don't
Campaign to
disrespect
Steve.
Campaign like that.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. I see more like Donovan
That's-
Mitchell, like when he does that though.
Bro,
You
I
know,
think
like
it's more like MJ, bro.
Calm
You guys
down.
are all disrespecting Campaign. And
Bro,
he's gonna win
Campaign-
Finals MVP.
Bro, he
Just
has
watch.
that Magic Johnson, like Kevin Garnett. Like,
I see like Larry Bird a little bit.
yeah, same, bro. Same.
Campaign is he's great. He's
So
better than
calm
Devin
down,
Booker.
Suns Geek. I'm just saying, it reminds me of Steve Nash, man. I don't know.
Sixers legend Mikael Bridges went off tonight.
Oh, bro, in the
Me too.
first half, bro, there was a Mikhail chant going on. It was crazy after he hit like 4 threes. I don't know if you guys heard it on the
Really?
thing. Yeah, there was like it was like Mikhail, something like that. It was crazy. It was like more my half of the stadium. Like it was cool. They also did a
Campaign
Torrey
like
chant.
Shaq. Yeah.
They did it. Yeah, when he got
I complimented Suns fans on that. I said that was just Phoenix Suns fans at their finest.
Bro, this is the thing. The fact that like there's a Torrey Craig chant is like shows the value's real, bro. Smaller market, I stand by this. Smaller market teams have the realest fans.
Rally the Valley, man.
Like most, I just didn't expect most Suns fans to even know Torrey Craig was, obviously. But like,
Hey, that's
obviously,
because you're so used to the Lakers.
Yeah,
No,
bro,
no
there's
offense, but
No, there's
Los
no
Angeles ain't a real sports town. They're just
okay, that's just stupid. But bro, there's so many fake Lakers fans.
You know how I know
I
that?
mean, you're one to talk, Romp.
No, I know how. You know how I know that is because Danny Green's recent comments. Like,
What do you say?
he was like, "Philly sports fans need to be softer, softer on their players." Blah blah blah. And I was like,
Bro,
and then,
Danny, what does that have to do with us?
because he's not used to the expectation of Philly fans. Like,
Bro,
it's
he
a whole
played here
different
for
ball
one-
game
he
from
played here
LA
1 year,
to
bro.
Philly.
But
1
he
year,
wants. Wait, I don't know. I don't know what I was gonna say. I just
Yeah,
like
Rob, what the hell are you saying?
I'm just saying, Phoenix basketball means a lot more to Phoenix fans and Philly fans than the normal LA people. That's all I'm saying. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, I mean,
Because LA is
I
like a
think-
weird city.
I think I think there's there's way more fake Lakers fans. Like there's just way more
Exactly.
bandwagons. Obviously, I could agree with that. But like,
Yes,
I don't
yes.
Rob,
E.
again.
Gibson, that's exactly what I'm saying.
I don't really know.
I don't know any fake Bulls fans. We're all real here.
Yeah, exactly.
We're in the freaking
well,
lottery again.
Super Mario, you'll learn that. You know, if you guys are in the lottery, obviously you are this year, but if it happens next year or if you guys just struggle next year, you'll see where the real Bulls fans are at. So hopefully the Bulls fans are real, like you say, because I've seen
There's
a lot
real,
of
there's
Suns
real and
bandwagon
fake.
fans.
I think
Yeah.
there's real and fake fans in every single fan base.
Facts. On that note, gentlemen, let's give our final thoughts. Let's tell everyone where to find you guys at. Let's start with you, Super Mario. Any final thoughts? Tell the people where we can find you at, man.
Nah, I think I kind of got everything off my chest. You can find me at Super Mario Hoops 24 on YouTube.
I'll leave the link down below in the description.
Yeah. And yeah, you might, who knows, you might find me in the Deer District in Game 3 wearing a Phoenix Suns jersey just to make everyone mad.
I'll send you the link and you can be like, I'm live here.
Wait, you have a Steve Nash jersey?
I do, but it's like so old. It won't fit me anymore. Probably. I'm thinking about just like
you're not a bandwagon fan.
I'm thinking about just framing it. I got it when he was still playing for the Suns.
Wow,
So it was like that long ago.
that's crazy.
But yeah.
Romp 2.0. Any final thoughts?
Just be grateful for a good front office. At Romp 2.0 on YouTube.
Mr. 10,000 subscribers. Congratulations, man.
Thank you. I think I'm gonna make a Giannis video, just ranting about how the Bucks are ruining him tomorrow. So stay tuned for that.
Reliable rants, my man. Where can they find you? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, Romp 3.0 on YouTube.
Romp
Nah,
3.0.
yeah, tonight was
20,000
crazy.
subscribers.
Tonight was crazy, bro. The atmosphere here is insane.
I'm
Honestly,
so glad
like,
you went.
Phoenix like looks kind of lit from outside. I don't know if you guys.
Let's
see that.
go.
It's kind of cool, like low key, but yeah, it was insane. Like I don't really have much to say. Like it was nuts. My eardrums were like permanently destroyed. But yeah, it was nuts. It was nuts.
Special shout out to all three of you guys, and huge shout out to the over 100 people that were in here, especially since we almost went for 2 hours and 30 minutes. I don't know how I did it. My brain is mush. You guys carried me. even when I was saying crazy things about Payne being the next Steve Nash. So good times, fantastic conversation. Please, you guys, just do me one more favor before we go. Hulk smash the like button. It really helps me out. And just share this stream. And just thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys. The Phoenix Suns are 2 wins away from their first ever NBA championship. And I cannot put it into words. So Hulk smash the like button and please subscribe for everything Phoenix Suns. If it has to deal with the Phoenix Suns, I'm going to make a video about it. I'll see you guys next time.